Wow!
shocked at how bad this movie
Oh, we got the
is.
emoji. Okay, we gotta talk
This
about.
is a lot to take in.
It really is.
It's so
Visually,
noisy.
aurally.
now I remember because from the Suicide Squad one where it was just like a whole bunch of stuff on screen.
Yeah, this is her style. Welcome for those who are not
Sorry.
familiar.
Her
I
style.
just
I
got
remember
that
this
20
now,
minutes
yeah.
ago. This is like such intense sensory overload. I'm kind of having a bit of a moment here.
There's a part of me that respects the complete and total lack of any fucks given when it comes to the visuals of your video. I mean, considering video is, the word video, the visuals are going to be pretty important. So maybe we should start at the back and work our way towards the front, right? Because we have a lot of layers going on here.
Yes.
So the bottom layer is just a black screen. So far,
Yeah, I
can
not
appreciate
terrible.
that.
Okay,
I like
the black
terrible.
screen, the black void, that is Grace Randolph's content at the bottom. All right. And now you want text over a black screen. You can't just have a black screen, obviously. That's not a very impressive visual. So we're going to put some text over it. And that text will be in purple. Fair enough. And it will just be listed in a row on the left-hand side of the screen.
What is
just
this?
going
What
all
is
the
this
way
list?
down.
It seems to be
Well,
like
they are
the
topics.
order of
They're talking points
the order
for-
of conversation.
Oh, so the first part of this video is yikes.
These are the chapters of the video. Yikes, my press screening, torture,
I will say-
see it in 3D. Why so bad?
When I first
No
saw that
exposition.
as a format, I legit thought like they were just notes she put on the screen to help her like understand, like because you just see it all at once and you're like, what the.
She didn't know she could write it down. She had to put it in the video to remember it.
Yeah, but I guess
editing
that
videos is so
she
hard,
believes
man.
that the value of this is that you can see the topics coming, and I think there are timestamps for the topics. So, for instance, if you were like, I wish to know what yikes means, you can just hit play. However, if you wish to know what toad is, you can go straight to toad.
Special Toad segment that appears after Chris Pratt. So this is not what we call in order of appearance. Let's see. We have what I'm trying to work from the bottom up, looking at these layers. It looks as if the next layer is actually the Super Mario Bros. Movie poster. So that
it's
came next.
Webcam looks like it.
And then after that, we probably have like our subscribed, maybe our at Grace.
Subscribed is below the text. You see the drop
Yeah, you can
shadow.
see the drop shadow.
That's what I thought. But would we not see that shadow under the rest of the text, or is that when?
Well, the problem is that the rest of it's on a black screen.
Yeah,
It's
so
black- it's
it is
black
there,
drop
you just
shadow.
can't see
But
it.
surely it would still it's long enough, right? To where. Surely, right? Like Toad would be over Toad would be over Chris. It would
No, but
overshadow
drop
Chris,
shadow is
wouldn't it?
underneath that layer anyway. That was created with a drop shadow that doesn't have. These aren't all individual. These would be as part of one big
This will be written
layer on
saying-
Photoshop.
Okay, all right. So I
Which, by the
think
way,
Grace.
putting a drop shadow on text that's on a black screen, just I don't get it.
Well, because then you
what's
can
the
get that
story?
lovely little bit on the subscribe button.
Well,
I mean,
Grace
The thing
knows
is,
it's
I
there,
mean,
and that's
if
enough
you look
for
over
her.
in the bottom right corner, you can see that the drop shadow is applied to that text as well.
Yeah.
And it'd be really difficult to make out that
Well, it's a
word
different
says
kind, though.
chapter if it wasn't the drop
it?
shadow there. It is different. You're right.
It's a bit different,
The chapter shadow is different than the conclusion shadow, which
Yeah,
looks
that's
like
like
it's
a
just
bloom.
downwards.
But can it be said that without that drop shadow, you'd have no clue, like you said? What would that say?
That's
You'd be
true.
like,
Yeah.
hapta? I
That
don't know.
text is hyphenated. It's the only text that's a bit different.
And it's italicized.
Good.
Huh.
Yeah.
Make it
we
easier
have the-
to read.
We have
There's
the Grace Randolph, the at Grace Randolph. I assume it's her Twitter, but we have that red spot.
Yeah, what's that?
that's
What's that
the
red-
picture, right? There's some
Oh.
picture there.
Is that the
in corner.
sniper?
Oh wait, is it the shadow under the at?
Sniper.
Did she add a special
it's,
red
uh,
shadow to the
no,
at
it's
sign?
There's a picture there. Like you see, there's a picture there, like in the bottom right hand corner. It's like a poorly cropped, like it's a picture of like space. Looks like
A picture of-
space.
Are you seeing? I'm not seeing
Are you
space.
f***ing
Is
with
it?
me?
I'm seeing.
You need to wake up, Fringy.
There's a picture of space, like
just saw
outer
right-hand
space
corner
with
there.
stars and nebulas.
Yeah, do you see the stars there?
I feel like are you fucking with us. What's
Are you
happening here?
fucking with me, Fringy? Bringy, have you had too much of your bean juice?
Okay, so I definitely see it on my screen, and it's not on yours. That's weird.
Move
Maybe
the
it
window
pops
around
up-
to like
maybe
a
it
different
pops up
monitor
like
or
a-
something. Maybe
I'll
there's
skip
something on your
forward like
monitor.
10 seconds and see if it's still there.
Yeah.
Oh, there
it's
it
the
is.
Universal
Oh my
There
god,
it
logo.
goes.
she's
Okay,
playing
yeah.
the movie.
It changes
Okay,
over
well,
time. How neat is that?
Well,
Okay,
I,
all right.
I expect
You're
an
not
apology.
crazy.
No,
There is
we were right.
No, we were right. It
What do you
wasn't
mean you
on
were
our
right?
screen.
On my screen. Yeah, but I was right. On my screen, it was there.
So why are we apologizing?
Yeah.
Because I was just
That
saying,
doesn't
I
make
see it
sense.
there,
What's
and
with
then
your-
you guys were like, "You're messing with me. You're screwing
No,
with
we
me."
asked if you were messing with us.
Yeah.
With us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
We asked if you had too much bean juice.
Mhm.
We asked
I
those
didn't-
things. Those were
no.
questions.
But now we
Not
can conclude you're on
accusations.
a nice amount of BJ.
Now we
good
can
amount.
go back to the fact that she gave the @ a special red-colored shadow for some reason.
Well, yeah, so that everyone can see this red dot there. What's that about? What's going on?
that's the shadow she gave to the @ but
You think it
she made
is?
the shadow red. Yeah,
I-
and it's in a.
it
Listen,
appears to be
look at the. We are
it appears to
pattern-seeking
be
creatures.
consistent.
All
Okay,
of us.
all right. mhm.
Notice that we already have two different styles of shadowing. It is therefore not illogical to conclude that Grace decided that she would give a third kind of different shadow to the @ and decided to color it red.
The counter,
I actually,
however, is that we are also creatures that base a lot on probability. Is it likely that she applied it
No,
just
this
to
helps
the
my
@
argument.
And
this
not to the
channel has
Grace
almost a million
Randolph.
subscribers.
yeah.
What?
Or, Rags, is it more possible that it's just another image on another layer that's just on this mess, you know?
I think that it makes sense that she clearly knows how to make things shadowy for no reason whatsoever. I think that
Pretty
she's
impressive.
decided to just give the an Grace Randolph. She thinks that's special, that @ sign.
You can
She gave it the red shadow.
you can do it so that it off centers down in a particular direction to kind of make it look
Yeah, you
more
can change the direction, yeah.
cool and stuff. So I could believe that she did it, but then why didn't she apply it for the Grace Randolph part, just the @ Why is that?
Because the @ is special. The Grace
Okay,
Randolph is just
okay.
letters. But the @ sign, that's
That's a sign.
something else.
It's a sign
Yeah.
that you
Okay.
should follow her on Twitter, I guess.
This is a sign you should abandon all hope, all you who click this video.
Well,
That's what this sign is. But we're
Yes.
not done.
no?
We're not done. No, because we have the emoji flying in.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah,
For
we
the
do
first
have
2
emoji
seconds.
layer, Yeah.
Was that
Don't
animated
you
as
have
There
well?
we go.
emoji layer in your video?
Yeah.
There he is, yeah.
She had to make sure that this emoji flew in from the left-hand side of the screen at the 3
Well, you got to
second
keep it
mark.
dynamic. You got to
Yeah.
keep it, interesting. You got to.
It's not enough that we look at her extremely expressive face. We have to have emojis, which are pure expression, distilled, and that has to fly in from the
They
left-hand
give
side
you a
of the screen.
good sort of,
Grace isn't
like,
enough.
you can understand what's going on
I know
here.
what
Like,
she's thinking
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
which
Because her
a lot
face
of the
wasn't
times
communicating that. I
because that
guess.
face is for yikes, I assume, because that's phase 1 of this journey.
yikes or I'm blushing. Like if someone said, "Wow, Rags, that is a massive cock you have there," I might make that emoji because like, "Oh my gosh, shucks, I'm blushing. That's such a kind thing for you to say and true." But that might
yikes.
be what I reply with, but not yikes. I wouldn't say yikes. Like, why are you
Yeah, I
looking
think there
at
are
me?
I
better
don't know
shock
that that's
emoji.
right
I
home?
feel like the yikes face is like the gritting teeth, like
Like a cringe or
"Ugh,
something?
Grimace.
oh," yeah.
Good old
Do we
Grimace.
have any
Yeah.
emojiologists in the chat right now?
That one, Rags, Grimace. Look at
Yeah,
him.
that's
Yeah,
what,
that's
what
a
I-
yikes.
That's yikes.
That's a yikes.
That's
Okay,
yikes.
that's yikes.
Oh, that's taking a shit.
You could also
That's
throw
an
in. You could also
That's
throw in this
Pepe.
guy for.
That's
just
Pepe protein.
Yeah,
That
you could throw.
is.
You could throw
Feels
in that
feels
fella,
weird,
too.
man. You can throw in there.
Yeah.
I think this video is missing a few animated GIFs in the corners, like Mario
Yeah.
dabbing or something.
Yeah.
Really,
Well, no, we've
like
got-
low
we've got-
resolution, shitty.
But see, the little subscribe, that's animated.
Have you guys seen
See,
that?
it's like-
They do this new thing. It's happened on TikTok and whatever format, like YouTube Shorts, whatever one that has those like phone format. They do the thing where whatever video is happening, they'll crop it so that it exists in the top half, and the bottom half will just be something. It could be like someone golfing or doing something mechanical or just something, a video game playing. Apparently, it's like
Someone
another
playing Subway Surfers.
Yeah, Subway Surfers pops up a lot. It's like the new way to just in case the audio or like the thing you're listening to isn't enough, there's just a game, like no context, playing on the bottom that you can stare at. I've even seen ones where it's just like a sausage factory just playing like how sausages are made. It's like, yeah, sure, I guess, okay. And it's like that's where we're at now. TikTok videos are struggling to keep people attentive. It's like, oh no,
Man, we are doomed, aren't we?
yes.
This is Grace Randolph. I see visuals like this, and I think, wow, you could have given a shit.
Well,
But
yeah,
you don't.
all memes.
No, this
all memes
is that she
aside,
gives
why
a
has-
shit.
Why
This
hasn't
is
she
the
just
shit.
like gotten somebody to make something for her?
Yeah, just commission
Because it
someone to make
works.
some assets for you, some little
guess that's
screens,
the
some
thing,
little
yeah.
boxes.
I guess that's the thing. That's the thing. Why would she change on this one?
Why
if
evolve
she's-
when
if
you're the
once she's
top of the
big?
food chain?
Yeah,
It's
like,
hard to believe
I-
this video somehow has 204,000 views. It's not
Oh,
very-
it's not
it's
hard
not
for
very
me to
well
believe
received.
that about this
But-
video. With some of the stuff, I can
Oh,
see
I
this video
guess
being
so.
shared a lot. Yeah.
Well, I
yeah,
guess
let
the
me-
thing is that she gets pretty consistent viewership, right? Like she's not like some struggling
gets about-
YouTuber.
Oh yeah,
think-
oddly enough, she gets like 50 to 100, or sometimes about 50 to 100,000 views a video.
how-
if you
how-
can fucking
how,
believe
like,
it.
How frequent are we talking in terms of uploads?
3 days, 5 days, 8 days, 8 days,
Yeah,
9
that's not
days,
bad.
9 days.
That's not bad
yeah,
at all,
yeah,
really.
she's pretty consistent, and she gets a decent amount of views for the insane little amount of effort that she puts into these. Probably clearly.
I'm gonna go to
Well,
bat for a
I
little
guess
bit.
back.
This takes time.
You
It's
think
just
she
really
watches them?
weird.
This would take me time to do if I was to
Well, it'd be
to
like
try and emulate
performance
this.
art of making a bizarre,
There is-
like
There is effort
Just-
happening. It's like an
You
issue
have to
of
pack the bulb. You have to find your lighter. You have to.
She could have just done a vlog, you know, but instead she did all this, and that's great that she put
You
that
should have
effort
just
in
done
there.
a vlog. Though it would have
Yeah,
deprived us
I
of this joy.
I would have preferred it with like less. I don't need this. Like I don't need all of this stuff on screen.
I need it. Also,
I
I
don't need
understand what things we have to
drop
come.
shadow list of text and like I guess the trailer's going to be playing in the bottom right hand corner. Like I don't need that. I don't need
Aren't
that.
some of these curious though?
fine.
Like, why so bad and no exposition? It's like, oh, is that a good
Accents?
thing, bad thing?
Well, I mean, it's the structure that's been laid out here is strange. Already, just like on its face, it seems odd. But I guess we'll find out like if there's a logic to it.
I'm gonna roll it right back to the beginning. Give her a full. We're gonna let it cook now with this setup.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So wow! I'm kind of shocked at how bad this movie is. Universal knows though.
Now
Universal.
that's a bold gambit on this one.
That's a bold gambit to talk about how bad something is in a video that looks like this, but fair enough.
Oh, I just mean in the case of the Mario movie, this is an uphill climb, is what I would say for
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah,
It's-
even our
it's,
point of view on it would be considered controversial. Probably.
Mine
Yeah,
is-
I don't think.
I would say mine. Yeah, my view is positive for it. So you know.
Well, sure, but it's just that
Oh, it's good.
we were like positive, but we weren't like super duper incredibly
Yeah, we have many
positive.
criticisms.
That's already probably contentious enough to say that it's bad. It's like
Yeah,
okay,
remember, we even on the day of doing it had people in chat being like, "Why are you doing this? This movie's for kids. What's wrong with you?" Like, oh shit.
I'm
Classic.
sorry that I have some level of investment in Mario. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, loser. Grow up.
Yeah, yeah.
Grow up and watch House of the Dragon. That's for adults. The Mario's for
The big
lame-os.
boys.
House of the Mario, House of the Mushroom.
House of the Bowser.
I'd watch it.
knows though. Universal
It's the
knows,
Koopas.
which is why the embargo is lifting mere hours before the movie premieres. I don't think this is going to make $1 billion.
Well, it's making $1 billion this weekend. Making $1 billion like possibly today.
I was about to say, how we
So,
do it on that? Let's have a look. See.
It's,
Yeah,
it's gonna be,
I think it
it's
just
900
crossed that
million.
line today. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Oh,
online.
did it actually cross it already?
Well, this video didn't age well.
It aged really
I-
badly as of this hour, I guess.
Well, let's be real. This didn't age badly. This was just like that
This
was
was
just
aged
like
badly
bad
since
take.
you said it.
Badly.
That was
This
a
is
bad
just-
take.
This is
That the
very-
Mario
I
movie
like
wasn't
it.
going to be incredibly successful.
Aged like shit. Like it came out bad.
I love that in addition to her terrible words, we also have the money sign with the big like the cross through it. The circle.
money.
No money allowed.
Not only has it made no money, it's like I think it's already
No
it's the
money is
highest grossing film
allowed.
isn't it like the highest grossing film of the year? Like
You know what?
Right
Without
now.
even looking at its like
Well,
worldwide, the
allegedly.
fact that on its first, second, third, fourth Friday it made 9 million.
yeah, it's been consistent. It's had very long legs. Each drop has been like not that big compared to like what we see with Marvel films, for instance. And it hasn't opened in Japan. I think it just opened in Japan like yesterday.
Really?
So
Yeah.
that number's going to
No,
crank
yeah.
up again then.
It's probably going to do quite well in Japan, I would imagine.
You'd reckon?
Yeah. This was always a bad take. Like the Super Mario series is one of the most like financially successful things that like has ever been created. Like
The
I
only
don't
question
know
was
why.
how much money
It's
would
like-
it make?
Yeah, that was always the question: is how much money is it going to make? $1 billion was like that was like pretty much guaranteed from the get go.
Yeah, because we can
Like
go suit mode every once in a while and be like, if you want to make money, you got to do certain blah blah blah. That not necessarily lead to like good films or good stories, but will get you bums in seats, so to speak. And it's just like this movie did all of those things. It's
It
surprising
definitely
you
did
that she
all
didn't
those
recognize that.
Well, and so like, what's her deal with like Illumination? Like, I presume that she knows a decent amount about them, right? Being
But they
like,
make
a
lots of
film
money.
person.
Um,
Well, I mean, does she like Illumination films?
We will discover that in this video.
I couldn't
boy.
begin
Story
to
will be
guess what she
told.
thinks.
I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't know.
She has her little magic 8-ball.
I don't think this is going to make $1 billion. I
Yep,
think
I
it might still
very
have a big
badly.
opening weekend. I don't even know if it's going to make it to Friday. I think word of mouth on this is going to be toxic or whatever.
It was so was the
Oh,
opposite.
look,
of
there's a
that.
barrel of
the
toxic
barrel.
waste.
And you can see the drop shadow. No, that's the same drop
Oh, it's
shadow as
underneath.
in the bottom
You're right.
right. It's different.
It's different. It's different than the conclusion. Conclusion had a
Yeah.
different drop shadow than Illumination and Nintendo. How?
Wait,
How
does
did
it?
you yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to the beginning.
No,
where you
that's not
see-
that's not the drop shadow, right? The drop shadow was cast. There should be like an O. I think we need more pictures. I
Because
can't
remember
quite-
when it said
More
the subscribe
evidence is
thing?
required.
See
Yeah,
the
no, I
conclusion
see.
shadow.
Yeah, but that's
It's, like,
that's what I'm
down.
saying. Well, no, the text has. You should have known because
Oh.
it's on the italic, right? You see how it's got the I can't remember what that's called when you've
It's
got
like
the,
a bloom shadow, but conclusion has
Yeah.
like a shadow that goes downwards.
You know
I
what?
think all of them
we
have
were
a drop
wrong. I
shadow.
think that all of the text has both the bloom shadow
Yes,
and
I
the
think
drop
so.
shadow.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
then we would see it on the O of Nintendo
Yeah,
in the
we'd
C
see
of
it
Oh,
there.
chapter.
Yeah.
No, it's not quite far enough to the. If the toxic barrel was a little bit more to the left, I think we could form a definitive.
Damn you,
conclusion,
Grace.
but right now
Put
it's
it
a little
further
bit
to the
hard
left.
tell.
I don't know.
More
I
evidence
think,
is required.
I think she's being
Yeah.
extremely inconsistent with her shadow features.
You know, I'm
Hmm.
glad the toxic barrel's there because otherwise I wouldn't have known just
I
how
wouldn't have-
toxic
yeah.
this movie
But
is.
also on the point that she made, it was the opposite. The film had very good word of mouth.
Yes.
Can
Yes.
we go back to the toxic barrel?
Put a little smiley face at the toxic barrel. That's the truth. That's what happened.
Mouth on this is going to be toxic or whatever toxic goo there is in Nintendo world that destroys stuff that it touches.
What are you talking about?
What is
Are
this
you referring
based
to a
on?
game thing?
Nintendo, the toxic goo
In
which, by the way,
Nintendo
you know, that Nintendo, that it's stuff from Nintendo touches. It's like, yes, the toxic goo of making lots of money. Like,
or creating
does she,
an IP
what
that
does she know
children
about
adore. I don't
Nintendo?
know.
Does she know anything about video games at all?
So that's a great question.
Because
She
I would
might
say,
have heard of
all
them
she needed
once.
to do was like, I don't know, just like play one Mario game to be like, oh, I get the appeal. Like, I don't know. Like, has she played Mario? Does she know anything
God,
about like
I
Nintendo,
doubt it.
what
I
they
don't
make,
know.
and how? I always assume that everybody's played Mario. I always assume that's
Yeah,
like
that's us for
everybody's
nerds.
played. Yeah.
Well,
they
Mario
sell,
is one
like,
of those things that defined a generation. I mean, she must
Yeah.
not be aware of that. Otherwise, she wouldn't be saying, like,
But,
she
like-
wouldn't be drastically underestimating
Which
the
is, like-
performance of this movie.
It's like half a good thing and half a bad thing. It's half a bad thing in that she has no idea what she's talking about, like context-wise, but it's half a good thing in that you get her just raw thoughts that are unfiltered
That's
by
true.
culture around her. She just gets to get in there and tell you what she thought.
That can be worthwhile for sure. That can definitely be worthwhile. I guess we'll have
Yeah.
to see in this.
We'll have to see.
Because already it seems to have yielded like a big misread of the market.
Yeah?
Let me me walk you through this, right? Because I know a lot of you aren't going to believe me, but I think you're going to be seeing a lot of bad reviews drop
we
right
won't
now.
believe you.
No, it was mostly. You could say it was overrated.
The reviews from critics weren't so great, but like, I mean, people pretty much dismissed those.
Well, yeah. If she's referring strictly to critics, then fair enough. If she meant like
probably
all,
is. She's like, and I remember distinctly that an impression I got from the Suicide Squad video was that she is like, she was talking about the Rotten Tomato score a lot, like just a ton.
Oh, I
like,
forgot about that. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah,
I remember now.
That's
really
like
the Bible.
Well, it's because it's like it determines like your credibility to some respect, right? Like if you get to be a Rotten Tomatoes critic or whatever. I don't know if she is one, but like
I'm almost certain she is, right?
Mind.
Can you review reviewers and make them rotten? Like, I want to see if movie Bob
reviewer rotten or fresh.
Yeah, like review. That should be a thing. There you go. Make the system fair. You get
Not
thrown
a bad
tomatoes
idea,
at you.
And yeah, it's unfortunately true. Now, as I've mentioned before when discussing this movie, I don't play Nintendo games, right?
Well, there's your answer.
There it is.
Okay, I haven't played. Now,
Like, I know
it's fine.
Of
Yeah,
course,
that's fine.
Yeah, like it's.
I don't
it's
play them
adaptation,
either,
right?
really.
It's a different thing. I guess it's more so that it's like it explains some things already.
She's not involved in the culture. She doesn't know.
I know who the characters are, well, like the big ones, but I'm certainly not a
I've heard of
Nintendo
Mario.
You know the
I know
plum is
Dry
the
Bones.
dinosaur.
Dry Bones and Shy Guy.
I know Blarg.
He's my favorite.
I like Bowser.
Oh,
Wow, sir.
fan. But, you know, just like I say movies shouldn't require homework, this should be accessible to a non-Nintendo
You don't
fan.
think the Mario movies?
So-
Wait.
oh god, that pause. I'm sorry. So, I would say, is the film accessible? You wouldn't even need our opinion on that. You already know from the results. Like the idea that you'd have to play the games before you can enjoy the films. Like obviously not.
I would say that the film is as accessible as the Mario games are, which is that any single one of
Jump
them
in,
could be
go for it, yeah.
fun.
Yep.
And like,
Right.
I imagine that informed the philosophy of the film as well.
And if someone was to
Makes
say,
sense from a money-making standpoint.
clearly it needs homework because you don't understand a lot of the references. Like you don't need the references to enjoy
You don't
the film.
need the references. You don't need to know what an R-wing is like, and to see like the R-wing on the Mario's team and go like, oh, it's a cool looking ship.
Yeah.
But of course, if you
Yeah.
know what it is, it's like, oh, R-wing, yeah.
R-wing, dude.
Or like duck hunt like stuff around the place, or all manner of little references and nods to the games.
Especially if it wants to make $1 billion. But you know, I do love Illumination movies. I watch The Grinch every year. I love
I watch The Grinch every year.
I don't know if
Specifically, the Illumination Grinch.
I mean,
love
I saw it in
Sing.
theater. It was.
Is it
I don't
good?
know what I think of it. I guess it was fine or something. I don't know.
I feel like
didn't-
that's probably the takeaway that you could have for a lot of Illumination films.
I didn't hate it. It was fine, but I just don't remember
Yeah.
anything about it. And I was like, okay, it's-
Well, I guess it's I love Illumination. It's like you love Illumination.
love them.
Like in the same way that somebody would say, I love DreamWorks or I love Pixar.
Because I'm looking at that list that she's got on screen, and I'm like, okay, so Despicable Me is a film where I believe when it's put on, I'm just like, that's totally fine and cool, thumbs up. And that's like it for me. I haven't seen Sing or Sing 2. I didn't see the Lorax. I didn't see Horton.
People like the Lorax.
I didn't see Super.
Like
Is that
real
Super
people,
Pets
not
or
just
regular
children.
Pets? I certainly haven't seen the Minions films. I'm sorry, the culture around them is just piss.
Well, that's going to be one of our arcs, right? For EFAP,
Is
we're going
it?
to watch all the mini movies.
Is that
You
something
told
that-
me about this.
Did we?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
thing?
You said this the other day.
that sounds great.
This was like-
up right now.
This was like 4 days
and he's
ago, I
saying it
think.
publicly.
Yeah, is this made
he's
up?
saying it publicly to try and lock you in.
He said, "You know what, Rags? I'm not up on the culture
Now
of
set
the
up an
Minions movies,
expectation
but I
in the
think I
audience.
should be as a film critic."
It's very sneaky. What's going on right now?
That
What?
was scared.
What do you mean?
Very scared.
You're just you're like, yeah, well, you did say it, and then you're saying it in front of the audience, so they're like, oh, you know what? We should do a Minions arc.
What do you want, chat? Do you want us
So
to do
now
like
there's
all the Pirates of the
expectations.
Caribbean movies and the Mummy movies, or the Minions movies?
You
Soon
know
the
that they're
Minions
gonna say
movies,
the
right?
Minions movies now to with you.
Like, oh, yeah, because they're bastards.
I think you'd have more fun with the minions.
Oh yeah, everything will be
I think
going
it'd be more
according to
fun.
plan. You know how it goes.
Well, it wouldn't be just the Minion movies, right? We'd need to watch all the Despicable Me movies.
Yeah, of
Sake.
course.
Yeah, to for the
Because,
lore,
that's
and
like-
you don't want to
that's
get
5
lost.
movies,
The
isn't it?
lore.
That's 5. There's
Exactly.
Like,
3.
oh,
You don't
that's
wanna
that's
get
the minion who likes
confused
the
watching
banana.
Minions.
I know who that is.
I will say,
There's,
even though the memes like Pirates
one's
is kind of
Kevin.
pushing in, I think people really want us to do Pirates of the Caribbean, which we
Okay,
probably will,
alright,
because
cool. I mean, I'd rather
Pirates
do that
seems
than
to be the winner.
than
Some of them
watch
neat.
the Minions movies. There's 5 Minions movies, I think, or like 5. I like how I think they're Minion movies because that's essentially what they seem to be.
how many are
The
there?
Minions, like,
Allegedly, they had like
there's,
orphans in
there's-
them or something. I don't
there's
know.
3 Despicable Me movies and there's 2 Minions movies, and I believe they're
Jeez.
making a 4th Despicable Me because Despicable Me is like incredibly successful. I'm pretty sure most of those films like consistently make like $1 billion because Illumination's I think average box office gross is like $700 million.
How'd the Grinch
Like
do?
the average film. The Grinch did pretty well. It like I think it made like 500, 600 million. But the thing is that it's not a very expensive. It's like all animated films. Like animated films are always going to be like expensive to some degree, but compared to like Pixar animated films, like Illumination films are pretty cheap. I think Mario was the most expensive one they made, and that was $100 million. And by comparison, Lightyear cost $200 million to make.
The Lorax movie has over 70 deals for product placement in it. The worst Doctor Seuss story to do that with.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
They
Are they-
advertise the forest constantly.
are any of them as
This
cringe
big,
as the Skittles
big
one?
forest?
What?
Ooh. That
ooh.
sounds like we would have heard
Taste
of
that
the
was-
rainbow. Look,
Well,
not everyone
that-
has seen or even remembers seeing, if they have seen, or even remembers it existed, Shazam, so don't worry about it.
Oh, you just unlocked a core memory.
Wait, you see it? You did you watch it?
Yeah, I went to see Shazam in theaters for some reason.
The second one?
No.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, not the first one.
Ah.
How
Okay,
did
you
I
didn't
unlock a
unlock
memory
shit.
for you when it's not even from that one?
Use the wrong key.
Oh, shit. Well,
Hey,
Yeah.
what the f is that movie in the bottom left?
that is Ugly Dolls.
Ugly
I've
Dolls.
never
What the
heard of
fuck is
that.
that?
That's not a theatrical release, right? Like, I've never heard of that one.
Well, I guess it's an Illumination
Maybe it's
film,
like
huh?
a TV show or something.
Oh.
Because, like, yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, I don't know what that
Funny
is.
how her Illumination reference picture, like all the thumbnails are not only so tiny you can't see them, but it's behind the text.
I think all of it
That's
appears
such a
behind the
choice.
text.
She has the whole screen to work with.
Can I just say, because you could really see it out, that drop shadow is hideous. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's really garish. Oof.
you didn't have to, Grace. You didn't have to do that. It may have been more difficult to do it that way, actually.
It was released theatrically. It's a real
Really?
movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've never heard of that
I've
one.
never heard of it.
Neither have I.
Apparently blows chunks.
Oh.
Yeah, lost a shit ton of money.
Is that an Australian way of saying it's really good?
Blows
Yeah, that's
chunks.
gotta be Illumination.
Oh, yeah,
only,
this
like,
blows
Calgary,
chunks,
man.
man.
I took my Sheila to the theater to see Ugly Dolls.
It blows
blew me
chunks,
chunks in
mate.
the
She
car park
blows.
after.
She blew chunks when she saw Ugly Dolls. I said, "Crikey!"
That's like racist or something. You can't do that.
I used all the correct terminology,
$1 million.
Sheila and all that. I've been. That's what's on the women's bathroom at Outback Steakhouse. I assume it's accurate.
I do love Illumination movies. I watch The Grinch every year. I love Illumination films. I think they're fantastic. And the trailers for this.
That's a.
Well, no,
Okay.
that's okay.
I mean, obviously, you're entitled to your opinion. It's okay.
Everyone's
I've been-
entitled to their
Grinch.
opinion. I'm
the
glad
wrong
you're
Grinch.
celebrating Christmas spirit.
yeah.
Love Illumination films. I think they're fantastic. And the trailers for this have been very bright and fun. Plus, I've been really getting into Universal Studios Super Nintendo World. Like, I haven't had a chance to go there, but I've watched all the videos. I'd like to go there. It looks like a good time. So
I'd like to go to this place.
Man, I find that kind of like a fascinating
What does that
thing.
have to do with the movie, though?
Super Nintendo World, well, because it was the thing that kicked this all off. Universal collaborating with Nintendo on the theme park was what started.
Well, that has nothing to do with the movie.
It has nothing to do with the actual film, but I guess she's
Yeah,
giving you a
she wants to go to the
background
theme
on her
park, though.
familiarity with Mario. she is familiar with the theme park, but she hasn't touched any of the games.
It's not
interesting. It's an interesting sort of arrangement, isn't it?
It's not supporting her case that supposedly whatever Nintendo touches becomes toxic. I think she made that point earlier, so I don't know why she's bringing up.
Maybe that
this.
just
It's like,
flew
yeah,
out,
Super
you
Nintendo
know?
World is great. Like,
It just flew out
so
of her
what's the
mouth.
toxic part? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because she specifically said from the Nintendo World, but Super Nintendo World at like Universal Studios, like or Universal Theme Park is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm
It
like,
looks
Or that's
great.
what
I
I've
would
heard.
like
I'd
to
like to go one day.
Yeah.
this seems fun. You know, everybody's so excited for Super Nintendo World, for this movie, right? And who doesn't love a party? I'm like, I want to be in here too.
I
Everybody
love a party,
move over.
Grace. Grace is speaking my language.
Oh.
Hell yeah, that was relatable.
So I was very excited for my press screening. I was like, oh boy. So there were
Oh boy.
She's like Mickey Mouse sometimes.
Golly gosh.
Oh boy, let's get in there.
about 40 of us in the basement of AMC Lincoln Square, and they gave us free snacks.
40 of us in the basement. They wouldn't let us
Free
go.
snacks.
Yummy.
And it was very
The-
nice.
the
They
way
had great
she-
snacks.
The
Does
way she
anybody
talks.
really care like where you saw it?
No, she just wanted to let everyone know that she's special and gets to go to
Sorry,
press
I interrupted you,
screenings.
John. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say the way she talks reminds me of Joan Cusack, but like when Joan does it, it's like it seems natural for her. But with Grace here, it's like she's putting on a voice. I don't know.
My
it's
God, that
weird.
is like the closest connection because I've always thought of her voice as incredibly unique. Like there's just nothing
Yeah.
else. But now I'm like, no, wait, you're right, Joan Cusack. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the basement of AMC Lincoln Square, and they gave us free snacks. Yummy.
Wow,
It was
they
very
gave you
nice. I had-
free snacks. Whoa, it's like,
Popcorn.
it's like
I
an
don't know,
actual
I-
7-year-old is describing her experience at a
I don't
birthday
know, like-
party.
I came to watch a discussion about the Mario movie. I don't care where you saw it. I don't care what stuff.
she
I
got
care about her
snacks,
grand
Ringy.
access, her access pass to seeing
That's all
Maria.
this feels like to me. This is like, yeah, this is where I went. Like I'm press. I get to go to press
Are
screenings.
you?
for
And you're
movies or
like,
something.
no.
No.
You know,
No,
I would
had
say
to
as
pay
well,
for this, like a peasant that I am.
this is actually really good because it lets us know that her like negative view of the film, that means like all this bias that would have been in favor of it, like the way they pampered her and stuff, and it's like, nope, gonna hate anyway. So you know she's authentic.
And it does feel tactical, doesn't it? It's like, like no, I mean, I wasn't going in to hate this, which I mean, she may well not have been. Like, I'm not even. I wouldn't.
I
even presume that
believe
she was.
This is how she genuinely feels. She's
Yeah.
and you know what? We need more,
Like, why
we need
lie
more
about
people like that
this?
out there. Yeah, like, there's no benefit to making this video this way. Trust
No,
me.
that's right.
Great seat. Wasn't too crowded. I had like my space.
Like what?
There
What
were
are we
no
doing?
spider webs.
Is she trying to say like the experience of watching it was perfect, so it is the film that's wrong? Like the
I'm
film
not-
is the problem.
It wasn't because
Does
the
she
guy
not say
sitting
this
next to me was.
stuff about every
like,
movie she
not
watches?
There's a chungo next to
Maybe she does. Maybe she does. Maybe she does say this in every film. Like, this
yeah, I don't know.
specifically the film I went to.
Yeah, I just
And they
took
gave
this
us
to be
free
like a part
snacks.
of her process.
Maybe it is.
was-
Yeah.
set. I was like, oh boy. But then the movie started, and again, out of like 40 of us critics,
After
it was a
the
critics
sugar rush of the snacks wore off,
Right,
I was thinking more
why you put on
clearly.
such an absurdly ridiculous voice? Why would you do that?
I mean,
only screening. The all media is tonight. It was a critics only screening, and I would say out of 40, maybe 2 people were enjoying and laughing at the movie. They were having a good time though. Maybe you're one of those 2.
only
No, that's-
2 of the 40. I don't
the
believe
funny
you. I
thing
think
is
you're
that-
lying.
So I don't know if. Do you know what the reviews were for the film, Rags? Like the critic reviews.
Yeah,
Did they all
weren't,
hate it?
they weren't great.
They weren't glowing. It's
Between
it was
40
like,
to 50%, right?
yeah.
Well,
on
that's
Rotten
way more than
Tomatoes.
2 out of 40. Damn.
It
it
really
is way
puts
more
that
than
in
2
a
out
new
of 40.
perspective to know that she is one of those critics.
Well, what I was going to say is I find that I think a lot of people would hear what she said and be like, oh, yeah, that figures. Like, they'd be like, yeah, and that's why nobody cares what critics thinks or something. Like, that's what a lot of people would take away.
I think so.
A
Yeah.
big critic screening and nobody was laughing. Meanwhile, they went to their theater and lots of people were laughing and, like, kids were really enjoying it.
The thing about it is, critics can be a strange form of person. The kinds of people that get invited to these things. Like, I'm not saying they have a bad view on life or anything, but they're strange. That's all. You read the reviews, and you do get a sense of like, wow, they don't look at film that in any way that we do at all. Like they.
Something I'd say is that if you look at the reviews, it's like you guys seem like you have a bias against this because it's a video game movie.
Yeah,
Like,
they'll
it
talk about
feels
stuff
way.
like that. Yeah, well, you have no
Talk
idea
about a
what
lot
you'll
of
get.
stuff that- yeah, pretty much.
In terms of like an approach, and it might be that they really did just like hate the fact that it's just too noisy, and they didn't understand why the plumbers and fighting the dinosaur. It could be that simple.
This movie's interrupting our nap.
The rest of us just sat there in stony silence, just waiting for the movie to end. You were like, oh, whew.
I wish
No,
you sat in stony silence.
Well, that's the thing. I just want to be honest about it. Like, because I know that not everyone feels this way, but like the movie whizzed by for me. I didn't even think it was like a great movie, but
Very,
went quick.
very fast. Very fast.
I mean, I also was not only not enjoying it, but I was shocked that I couldn't get into the movie. I was like, how is this bad? I haven't had this hard a time watching a movie since DC Super Pets.
Oof. Poor Super Pets. I've never seen it. Is it
Stunning
bad?
surprise recommendation of
I don't
DC
know.
Super Pets.
I know.
Let's go.
Let's go Super Pets.
Surprise watch.
I don't know. Chat. What's Super Pets like? You seen it?
I've heard it's not very good.
Oh no.
That's what I've heard.
I would describe both of these movies as torture to sit through.
Torture.
Damn.
Goodness gracious.
Now with
Torture.
claims like that, you're like, I can't wait to know what did it. We've got clues over here.
So you've already. I feel like if you say that on this film, it's like you've already lost the audience. Like you've
Well,
lost
so-
them at this point.
You know, I just realized I was like, I guess this is the intro and we're about to get to yikes. And it's like, well, no, press screening. So we're and she just said, yeah, torture.
No, we're up to
so
torture now.
yeah, we're up to
We're at
torture.
torture
So
now,
see it in
yeah.
3D is coming next, which feels weird, but
Okay.
okay. Like
Hang on,
this
why
film is
have a
torture.
list of your
Now whether you
chapters
should,
on the side of the screen if you're not going to update it as you go through the video.
I guess you're supposed to figure it out.
Why take away when you can add?
And I just like the idea that you announce the movie's torture, and then it's like, so should you see it in 3D? Like what?
I feel like
I feel like you've answered the
that's
question
not
already.
The most pertinent part of the discussion right now.
If you hate your kids and you want to torture them, take them to see Super Mario Bros. They'll hate
But
it.
make sure you do it in 3D.
Ooh, and I like comic books, I like mythology, I get into stuff.
Wow.
I get into
I get-
stuff.
mythology.
I get into stuff.
Comic books and
into
mythology. I'm sorry, which of those applies to Mario? I guess mythology
Why
could...
does she? Does she just see it all as like similar things? Yeah, comic books, Mario, same shit.
Can I just say, you
know,
need the
the
Steve
Odyssey.
Buscemi meme of like, hello,
the
fellow,
Odyssey,
get her into
Iliad.
things,
The
people.
Icelandic sagas.
I also enjoy mythology.
Well, yeah, why would you? Yeah, but, you know,
I'm
like
somewhat of a mythology enjoyer myself.
between reading the Odysseus, it's like after that, I just gotta follow it up with just like some Super Mario World.
That's what I mean. It's just like, oh, I love me some
mythology.
MCU Thor, so I figured I'd like this. You're just like, I don't even know where to begin with all of that.
Why do we even get to unpack that?
Such a statement. But yeah, I like that it's an appeal from her to be like, I'm one of you guys, okay? And I didn't like it.
Through. Whew. And I like comic books, I like mythology.
Yeah, it's like the fact that she felt the need to put that press badge kind of like stock image on there. It's like, man, you really want us to know
Does,
that you are like a special person, aren't you?
Does all this get wiped, or does she just keep putting it on top?
It just keeps
Bro,
piling on. By
you
the
got
end
rid
of the
of the top
video,
one.
every single facet of the screen is showing
All
you
you can
something.
see her eye through like she's
the
just
thing
like,
is
I did not like it.
She got rid of the toxic barrel, so they gotta disappear at some point. You know what would have been clever if you wanted to put some effort in is if you had like one of Donkey Kong's barrels, but it was overflowing with like some sort of viscous goo.
No, Nintendo
Like,
goo that destroys things. She was very specific.
I'm really disappointed that not every single image also has the drop shadow. I think that'd make
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
quite the feast for the eye.
We gotta be consistent,
It'd be so
Keep
great though if
consistent.
like some of them did. Like she just applies it randomly.
Yeah.
The
And
popcorn.
then you gotta like actually sit there and like interpret it, figure it out. It's like, it's like a piece of art at that point. It's like, why does this have the drop shadow and that one doesn't?
Why
Like,
did you do
there's
this to
gotta
us,
be a
The point
Grace?
of the piece is that we're talking about it. It doesn't actually want to communicate any message itself. It's to start a discussion.
That's right.
You know, I like comic books. I like mythology. I get into stuff. I'm open to getting into new fandoms. So the fact that I was like, make it stop.
Stay away from ours. Don't get into ours.
She said, "Make it stop" to the Mario IP. Like
Mario,
well,
make it stop. Make it stop.
I just like the idea that she's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I'll check out this fandom." Oh, it's horrible based on this film. All right.
It's pretty bad. Although I wanted to walk out of DC Super Pets, as I told you, and the only reason I stayed was because again, I'm reviewing
Hot dogs, right?
I'd love to be able to say, hey, it gets really good. Narrator, it does not. And also the visual.
Another clever sing.
She likes to have
Grace
fun, and
Randolph.
I'm here for it.
I love how she stopped to say narrator because.
And then she
otherwise
laughed.
we wouldn't know.
Oh my goodness!
The well-constructed joke. Why are you being so mean?
What
Gosh.
incredible comedy!
Yes.
No, I think it's funny. I laughed unironically.
It's genuinely hilarious.
I did
Also,
laugh
the
at something she did.
visuals here were pretty good. And I really like Anya Taylor-Joy's Princess Peach and Seth
What are
Rogen's
we-
Donkey
what-
Kong.
Oh, she picked the two worst.
She picked the two worst.
We're
How did
jumping
she
all over
manage
the
to
place.
do it?
The two voice actors she praised was Seth Rogen and Anya Taylor-Joy. The two that everybody's been saying are like, nah.
Nah. I mean, Seth Green was fine. I
Rogen.
think
Seth Green.
hers was
Seth Green was
hers
fine.
was-
Was he?
Seth Green
Seth
was
Green.
fine. Anya Taylor-Joy was fine, I guess. They're just not. She picked the two worst though.
Well,
Like, out of all the
she picked she picked the people who were not doing as much of the putting on a voice, which is kind of interesting.
Well, one of them was
That's
meh, and one of them was Seth Rogen. So it's like, why did you pick
Yeah.
those two? Of all the two you could have picked. I mean,
It's also
When
just
Fred
like
Armisen's in this movie.
yeah, that's exactly. It's strange.
and you check online, like most people are saying that Jack Black was the best
Jack
performance.
Black.
absolutely.
Which, yes.
I agree.
He was.
Anya
I
Taylor-Joy.
also really liked Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, actually. I thought he
Well,
was
the crazy
working
thing
hard.
is, this is why this is so funny. I would have praised basically everybody, and then two caveats, but they were two praises. Like, it's like, okay then.
Joy's Princess Peach and Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong. So, it wasn't quite as bad as Super Pets, but it was close.
Well, because there were two
If
voice
Seth
actors that
Rogen
you
voiced
liked
the
in it.
dog in Super Pets, I would have
Who's in Super
really
Pets?
liked it.
Somebody mentioned it in chat. The only one that felt like it didn't fit for me really was Cranky Kong. It didn't sound like an old guy. It just sounded like
I guess
a
that means
much
you
younger guy.
disagree.
I liked
Because
him.
that was Fred Armstein was Cranky Kong, I think. I liked
I mean, it was fine.
I
He
liked
just
the
didn't
performance.
sound as old as the character he was voicing. That's all.
Well, the reality is that I feel like in terms of figuring out voices matching and everything, it's like it feels like it runs the gambit, and like Seth Rogen Donkey Kong to me feels like the one that doesn't fit the most to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just the one that is the most strange.
I thought I was
Also,
going to have a lot of
Chris
trouble with
Pratt's
Mario, but I didn't.
I didn't have as much trouble with.
Had even less
Chris
trouble
Pratt's
with
Mario.
Luigi.
Yeah,
No,
I
Charlie
liked
Bowser.
Mario and
I felt
Luigi's
like
voices.
I
Yeah.
felt they fit.
I will say though, for a character named Cranky Kong, never mind, forget it. Moving on.
It was bad. But speaking
Whoa.
of the amazing visuals,
Oh.
Mario Brothers.
Reset.
is a-
Broke my
put-
neck.
She cleaned it up.
I like how she cleans it up and she's like, I'll put this image here.
Yeah, I mean, you
Beautiful
like,
over there.
you can tell that she put it on where it wasn't like hitting any of the other borders. She's like, "Oh, it's a bit small. I guess we could bleed it into me and the words a little."
We can finally see now that it goes face cam on the bottom, then the other images, then the text.
She
Yeah.
reversed
Conclusive
it, though.
evidence.
I
that
thought
the-
it was
that the camera's on the
thought-
bottom.
I thought the webcam was on top.
You'd think,
Did
but
she
no.
change it?
This is Grace Randolph. I'm 100% willing to believe that she just added a new layer. See?
Is she
yeah,
filming
you could
this
tap,
on the
you could,
observation deck of a
you can tip
skyscraper?
tap back and forth, and you
Because
can
they're all
see how the
above,
webcam
right?
gets covered up.
So- Yeah, I mean the webcam's on the bottom.
Yeah, so
But
Yeah.
now,
yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
it's on the bottom.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, we figured it out.
We did it.
Good
We
job.
figured it out. She just decided that
cracked
would be
the
a good
code.
place. She couldn't have just stretched this and had this be the background. It was she's just like, you be over here.
Yeah.
And see, look where screening is. So it doesn't have the shadows. The shadows are different for conclusion.
Is she starting to talk about
yeah,
the
hang
cart
on.
section of the movie, and that's why she's using this image, or she
Press
just chose this at
screening-
random?
Press screen shadow looks normal.
Yeah, it's the bloom shadow.
That does
But
look
then
normal,
conclusion
you're right.
had the downward shadow.
Yeah, it was like the
so for
drippy,
some reason
bleedy one.
conclusion is special and it gets its own particular shadow.
Where was it when it looked really bad?
Oh, that's
Oh,
everywhere.
conclusion was right at the
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
Conclusion was right at the. Oh,
Pick a frame.
wait, there was something else, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'm trying to
when it
find. Was it when the elevator picture showed up or the escalator? I guess so. Okay. Anyway, we'll carry on. Sorry, Grace. You go right ahead.
Super Mario Brothers is available in 3D. And if you like 3D and you're willing to pay a couple extra
Oh, I know what
bucks
3D
for
is
it,
because the picture.
Yeah. Look at that.
with the outdated 3D glasses, but you know, you get the idea.
Yeah.
you might want to consider it. Also, maybe as a
Okay.
safety net. If the movie's so bad, at least you'll have peak visuals.
That's the logic. It's really bad, but you'll have better
at least
visuals than
visuals.
normal. Why would you just say don't see it at all?
3D is peak visuals in her mind, I guess.
I guess so. You know, it's
Let's,
I'd say it's different. I wouldn't want to say it's definitively better because
I'd say that I generally want to avoid seeing a lot of
The thing
stuff
about
in
it-
3D.
yeah, like if a wizard said you can now see all movies in 3D forever with just your eyes, I'd be like, I'm alright. Thanks,
Nah,
wizard.
no
I'm okay.
thanks.
I have enough
I
3D in my life. Thank you
I'm
very
pretty sure
much.
that
Yeah.
like the last 3D film I saw was Avatar 2, and before that it was like probably a film that came out in like 2011. Like I'm pretty sure I,
I
haven't
think
watched
before
3D
that
movies
there
in
was
a long time.
Avatar.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it was Avatar, but I might have seen Clash of the Titans in 3D.
So
I
I
know that.
saw the last movie I saw in 3D was The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
wow.
I saw that movie in 3D.
Oh my god, that
that
movie
make
was
it
a
better?
headache in 2D.
Exactly.
I don't know if it
That's
made it
That's a
better.
good point.
Probably
Someone
not.
in the chat pointed out that she just Googled image searched the 3D, and this is the first thing she found.
Yes,
and
of
she
course.
looked
That
at
doesn't surprise me at all. Of
Wait,
course,
I want
yeah.
to test it.
She just Google image searched the thing and just put the first thing in. Yeah,
3D.
duh.
That simple. Hey, it doesn't.
Well,
Well, a
maybe
bunch of
3D
bullshit showing up for
glasses.
me, so maybe 3D glasses. Yeah. No, it's just the glasses themselves. Maybe 3D glasses audience. Oh, yeah, okay, that's what she did.
Now you're getting it. Now you know
Yeah.
how to make a Grace Randolph video.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I feel just like her now. That's amazing.
You didn't even do the trendy thing of getting purposefully getting like a Shutterstock image and putting it on with the watermark on it. I like how that's sort of come around to almost becoming like its own style, keeping the watermark on the image websites.
Particularly the Mario Kart sequences. When I was watching those, I was like, wow, I bet these would look pretty good in 3D. I mean, I think
Yeah,
the movie's
look
actually
shit now
made
though.
I bet these look pretty good in 3D.
Wow. One more D and this'll look pretty neat.
I just want to. She needs to be in a cartoon. She's got the perfect
She
voice.
needs to be in the Mario movie. She needs to be.
to be seen in 3D. I think they should be advertising that more. Like the rainbow road gets all swirly, and then the camera starts swirling, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And
Oh, vomit-inducing.
I like that.
It's just
The movie itself is
such
pretty
bad
bad,
commentary.
but man, when them colors were swirling, you know that was. All right, Grace, that's okay. It's good that you like swirly colors.
I was like, oh, why aren't I watching this in 3D? Now, as I said, I've been able to get into other mythologies, but I
Stop calling Mario
Mythology.
mythology.
Mythologies. It's weird.
It feels so odd to be
Like, yeah, I get it's technically, I suppose, accurate, but no one
Technically.
says it like that. You
Yeah.
just say that.
Mythology of
You.
Mario.
It doesn't
Like, we're
feel
not a
like that's
church.
right, but okay.
It's
We don't have temples. It's like holidays.
Yes, we do.
Oh, of course. I mean,
just couldn't get into this movie despite being a ready and willing participant. I was like, come on, Nintendo World.
really participant.
Did you say indoctrinate me?
Can she stop saying Nintendo World? It's kind of getting on my nerves. It's not Nintendo World, it's Nintendo.
Nintendo World. All the Nintendos are.
She's absolutely the person who said stop playing on your Nintendos.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I can think when she says that. Nintendo World. Impress me, Nintendo World, with your Game Boy thing. Like,
being a ready and willing participant. I was like, come on, Nintendo World, indoctrinate me.
Come on, Nintendo World, indoctrinate me
with your mythology.
It's like something out of a like maybe in the late 90s or early 2000s, like maybe a church group would put out like a video games are bad video, and that would be a line one of the characters said. Hey, come on, Nintendo World, indoctrinate me. Like Tom Hanks could play in it, but he'd be really young.
Yes, we can de-age him.
So I thought about it. I thought about.
Oh, look at the
That's what
emoji.
thinking looks like.
I started thinking, and my head hurt, so I stopped.
There was too many colors.
I saw it last night, and I've been like, why couldn't I get into
3D.
this movie? And
My
this
thoughts are all swirly.
morning, eureka! It clicked.
Eureka!
bulb.
Thanks for the light bulb. Yeah.
I love it. It's
Ding.
And I realized the problem. The Super Mario Brothers movie, this latest one, they did the live action one many years ago.
yeah, you wouldn't want to mix them up.
I had a grasp of which one you were referring to.
The live action Bob Hoskins one is just I want to rule out that we're talking about that one, you know.
But while this is supposed to be an origin story where Mario and Luigi do discover the Mushroom Kingdom for the very first time, I didn't even know it was called the Mushroom
Nintendo
Kingdom.
World.
I had to look it up. It's not even made clear in the movie.
It's said multiple times in the movie.
It is. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like the second thing Toad says to Mario is like, "You're in the Mushroom Kingdom." Pretty sure it's like the.
Well, that's not
second
made
thing
very
he
clear,
said.
Friggy.
Yeah,
And then,
maybe the
I'm
reason
pretty
she
sure
has
Mario
Toad's
even was like,
section.
"Oh yeah, mushrooms, of course." Like, this is what I mean. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it was very explicit.
Are you
It's about as
sure?
explicit as you can get. Yeah.
He believes otherwise, and she saw it. Did she say she saw it twice? Or was it just the once?
And also, like, I don't know, this is not like a hill to die on, I would say. I feel like a lot of people are just gonna be turned off instantly.
Well,
Like, what is the Mushroom Kingdom? Because most people just be like, it's where Mario is set.
I was about to say, so like, let's pretend for a second that there's no line in the movie that says Mushroom Kingdom at all. Is that really like how bad is it that he doesn't know the name of this land? Is that like the worst
Which
thing
he
ever?
definitely does. Which he absolutely does.
I just don't know that it really changes like your ability to understand everything without knowing it's called the Mushroom Kingdom, but you do get told it's the Mushroom Kingdom, so I don't really know.
Time. I didn't even know it was called the Mushroom Kingdom. I had to look it up. It's not even made clear in the movie.
I love the
It's not
idea that
even
she
made clear in the
googled
movie.
what land does
the
Mario
Mushroom
visit.
What
Yeah.
place did Mario get transported to? Like,
What is this
He's an
kingdom full of
80-year-old.
mushrooms? Oh, the Mushroom Kingdom. Okay,
I
get
got it now. I got it. Thanks,
why didn't they tell
Google.
me?
Google fixing movies.
But the movie is written for fans and fans only. Nothing
No,
is
it's not.
explained to the
No, I don't know
Nothing's
what to tell you.
explained.
It's like, in fact, it's like very clear that they were writing it in a way that was expository. Like,
You know what?
You know, 'cause it was the same scene that they were like, "Oh, Luigi's in the Darklands," which is where, you know, I mean, he's gonna get Bowser's gonna find him and get him.
If
It's like that, and they even have the map that shows all of the like realms and stuff. It's really not that complicated.
if this were the only Mario content in existence and we saw it, I would probably have had a thought of like, good God, this is well realized considering it's like the beginning of this IP. Like the amount of stuff they've got in here. And I would like, I'd be the kind of person to just be like, are you sure it's not based on anything that came before? Because there's so much stuff. But then
Mythology, yeah.
it's ancient mythology.
It's a rich mythology. Yeah.
Yes, but you know, but that's not like a mark against it. It's, if anything, it's kind of a boon to the film. There's like, look at all this shit. I wasn't, and this is me speaking. I wasn't like they better explain all of why the toads got different colors, huh?
Yeah.
That mean terrible.
the audience. Not the world, not the characters, not the circumstances, and not even really the point. Now, some of you might be like, good, I'm a fan, and I just want to get to it. I mean, there's nothing to get to, but...
There's
Nothing
a story and
happens.
characters.
Sure that means
Not that they're
that-
like great or anything, but there is like story and characters and a plot.
The thing I get a
Just so
little
we're clear.
baffled by is like it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
The criticism is
it's
not
like-
that you don't understand what's happening. It's that there isn't a lot to understand. It's very,
Yep.
this is this,
Very
this
simple.
is this, go. And you're like, okay.
It's not complicated.
You know, a good screenwriter, screenwriting.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
all
tell us. Go on, tell us.
Tell us about good
Tell us what a
screenwriting.
good screenwriter would do.
Hollywood
Yeah,
with
go
a
on.
big frowny face on it.
Back when I was never a screenwriter.
Oh, no, there it is.
No, said Hollywood. That's
Why did you
How
do that to
sad.
Hollywood?
This movie made Hollywood.
Why'd you make
sad.
Hollywood so sad? And you know
Oh.
what? I'm sure that all those executives in Hollywood are miserable right now.
Hey, we're not sad. We're just crazy.
disrespected in Hollywood, but this is like, it's at its lowest point right now. Like a good
Damn, man.
What, Mario movie is the lowest point for scripts in Hollywood?
The
Really?
lowest point
Okay,
for
the lowest
screenwriting in
funny
Hollywood.
script. What did she like?
Grace,
no,
it
that
gets
was-
lower than this, love, okay? This isn't even that
Oh.
bad.
Hang on, she's a Marvel fan, isn't she?
Yeah. Definitely.
Uh,
I wonder what she thought of Quantumania.
Oh god.
screenwriter can make this fun for everyone, right?
I mean, it kind of is though. It's making over $1 billion. Those kinds of movies, you're like, well, I guess this satisfied enough people, didn't it?
Mm.
Like the idea that's like, well, it should be good for everyone. It's like, is there any movie that everyone likes?
Well, there is that, that old saying, right? Like, if you like try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody.
That's the thing. It's just like, what can you point to that has never had anyone say,
But-
yeah, I'm not a fan?
And yet, with that said, it's been a while since I watched a movie that was clearly shooting for like the broadest appeal that it possibly could.
Yeah.
Like in this case here, and that it was, if anything, it was like almost factory made to be like the most like broadly sort of like appealing film.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It feels like this is like a Bizarro
It's like
video
divorced
because
from reality.
if anything, like it's all the opposite of what she's saying. It's like this movie's really easy to understand because it's clearly been built to be bite-sized for like all audiences, and that it's simplistic and straightforward and simple shapes. I don't know what else to say. It's just like, well, how did you get lost watching this?
This
I don't
is like
understand that.
Nintendo Easter egg the movie, the opposite of Andor.
I
This is just
seriously
like,
like it's actually so. Oh god damn! I like
There's
how
so
she
much
said
to
it's like the
unpack.
opposite of Andor in a way that is probably also implying negativity towards Andor.
Yes, she is, and I can explain that.
Because on the point of people saying that it's an Easter egg filled film, I feel like when I hear that, it's like, do you feel like you need to say that? Like, is that something that you feel like you need to say? Because most of the Easter eggs are like visual and don't really like have any bearing on slowing down the story. Like,
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
not
really
distracting
understand
at
it.
all.
Like, the majority of the Easter eggs are like, oh, look, there's like a game that's being played on the TV, right? Like, it's like Kid Icarus, it's like 2 seconds. Like, is that like a problem that he's playing a game that is actually like a video game?
And
or like, oh,
there are
look,
lots
there's
of
like a
Easter
sign
eggs.
over there.
There are lots of Easter eggs in the soundtrack that would completely
Yeah.
fly by anyone who doesn't.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just there for people who realize it, and if you don't realize it, it doesn't do anything.
That's what I mean. I don't like when I hear people saying it's like so focused on Easter eggs that it forgot to like tell a story. I just find it weird because it's like, I would say that like the problems when it comes to like a thin script exist independent of the Easter eggs. Like the Easter eggs are much more just like, oh, that's something in the background that you recognize. Oh yeah, no, I recognize that over there in the background. Not like the only ones that get like really overt was like that princess is in another castle thing, but like that's a joke more so than it is like specifically an Easter egg. If you were to like break it down as a thing in the story.
Closest thing I could reference, because basically I'm struggling with the idea of like, what does it look like to have a no story and just Easter eggs? Like probably fucking Ready Player One, but even that had a story.
Yeah, and that's an example of like a film that feels like it was very much constructed around making sure that it threw in a bunch of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Like as in it was deliberately structured in that way. Whereas I imagine like the discussions that they were having when it came to plotting the film, for as thin as the plot is, was probably which place does it make some level of, sense for us to go to, or like, and what can we make it look like? What does it look like going to like the Kong lands and everything? Or like, what do we want to throw into any given area of the world? And how do we get to those places to get some variety? I mean, the most you could say is probably like how can we find a way to put Rainbow Road in there? Because I'm sure that was a conversation that they had. But I mean, I feel like at that point you're going beyond Easter eggs. That's just like a desire to adapt aspects of the game into the film. And I feel like there's got to be a distinction between that and Easter eggs, right? Like, or does she consider it an Easter egg that it's Rainbow Road? Like, that in and of itself makes it an Easter egg? And if so, how does she feel about, like, Marvel films when they throw in characters, like, just to get them in there? Is that, like, Easter eggs, or is that writing? Like,
I don't know. And should we not be rewarding scripts that can get Easter eggs in there that aren't intrusive? But I guess she hasn't even said whether or not.
Well, the problem is it seems like she's already decided that there must have been a lot in there. Because, like, something I would say is, if you don't know anything about Mario, how do you know what the Easter eggs are? Like, how do you know what they are? That's true. It feels like it's an inherent sort of contradiction in the statement. I don't know anything about Mario, but it was laden with Easter eggs. Like, so when you see the R-Wing, what do you think that is? Do you know that that's from Star Fox?
Do you think maybe,
like,
take this poster, for example, when she looks at, like, some of those floating things, like that little she's just like, oh, that's probably a reference to a level.
Easter eggs, as opposed to, like, that is, like, the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Like, I would want to call more attention to that. I don't know anything about Mario, but it was laden with Easter eggs. How do you even know what they are?
We know those one of the first, like, sort of creatures that Toad steps on when Mario first meets him. I could imagine her looking at that and being like, I guess I'm supposed to know what that is because I would have played the game. Like, she can't read it as just, well, see it for what it is. That is what it is.
Well, she can't just read it as that's a little critter in the Mushroom Kingdom, and then people who played the game are like, well, of course I know who that is.
Yeah.
You know? Like, like for instance, like, I think I'm just like, I'm struggling with that notion. And I think it's because it was just something I noticed. A lot of reviews were like, oh, it's so focused on Easter eggs. It's like that was almost the conclusion that was set, you know, almost like ahead of time for the film for people, even though they couldn't, like, tell you what those Easter eggs were or specifically how they obstructed the story. Because, like, what she needs to do now is, here's an example of, like, an Easter egg that was, like, really obtrusive and it just brought the story to a dead, like, to a halt. That's what I would need.
Yeah.
But I feel it's more likely that she's going to say, yeah, it's so focused on Easter eggs, you know? Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, and as you said, because she's not a Nintendo person or a Nintendo player or a gamer, she doesn't know they're Easter eggs. She just is going by what she's been told.
I think she's just assuming that they're Easter eggs.
Yeah, she couldn't, like, tell us what they were.
Mm-hmm.
Of Andor. This is just.
Oh, and by the opposite of Andor.
What did she say about Andor? Yeah.
What she said was, if you go, we were told about this when she was reviewing it. She said that Andor doesn't have any Easter eggs in it, like, you know, a link to maybe Vader in the after credits scene, or references to people like, you know, Thrawn, throwaway lines about stuff, and maybe stuff in the background you can recognize. She said, so there's nothing keeping you to, like, watch the show.
Oh, is that the only reason to watch stuff?
Yeah, like that's famous. But I think once she watched the whole season,
you've already seen.
Once she'd seen the whole season, she, like, changed it to something along the lines of, like, you know, it's a good show, but there isn't anything keeping you in because they didn't put in their Easter eggs when they should have. Which is just sad, and that's exactly why we get stuff like
commentary,
like Kenobi, Boba Fett, and Mandalorian. These shows that are just churned out to be like, this is Darth Vader plus a Mandalorian plus Gus Fring from Breaking Bad plus he talks about Jedi sometimes.
Well,
that's like all of the things.
Plus Captain Jack Sparrow.
Evoking a new point in my mind. It's her problem with, like, oh, this is so laden with Easter eggs, is that she doesn't know what they are. So, like, they don't, like, appeal to her personally. Like, she can't enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, if it was something else that she knew more about, she'd love all the Easter eggs. But
yeah, if she was obsessed with Mario, maybe she'd be like, this movie's amazing.
Yeah.
You did say it's...
That would take some level of self-awareness, though.
She liked the colors, the swirly colors.
Well, she said they could be more swirly.
But they are swirly and greatly appreciated in 3D.
Swirly enough, yeah.
3D swirlies.
That's right.
She would appreciate them in 3D.
Even though she thinks the movie is torture.
There's that.
You know what? I know that whenever I see a movie that I describe as torture, I think, if only I could watch this in 3D.
Oh, I felt. But yeah, saying that Mario was like the opposite of Andor is just wow. You know, you're just like,
Someone says that, and you're like, go on,
please be more detailed.
I need
All
to know
Easter
your thoughts.
You just choke on them. It's too much candy.
And that is the
after a
choking
brief
Easter egg.
opening, which
How can you be choking on it if you don't even know what they are?
So she's not going to substantiate it then. Yeah.
Every
Cool,
time she
awesome.
blows an image in from
She knows.
Here
One of
we
those, like, she
go.
knows what to say. That's it.
Yeah.
it's too much candy. After a brief opening, which is very Illumination, it seems more Illumination than Nintendo. You could be watching a scene from.
How do you know what's
Secret Life of-
Nintendo?
Because she's been to Nintendo World. No, she knows about Nintendo World. She's seen
that's
videos.
true,
Nintendo World she was ready for Nintendo World to indoctrinate me.
Yes.
Pets, quite frankly. But then after that, there's like no story. Well, and what little story they do
So
have.
the accurate perspective is the story's thin. Not that it doesn't exist. There is one. Mario
Like-
needs
like
to
you
save
get-
Luigi from Bowser, and in doing so, will rescue the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, he goes to the Mushroom Kingdom, asks their leader for help. Their leader happens to be, looking to get help to stop Bowser from trying to take over the whole place, and he's going to join her. That's the story.
Mm-hmm. It's really
And then
simple, but there is
and
one.
the Mario brothers gain the respect of their family as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
right?
That'd be the heart, I suppose.
Mhm.
I just find it bizarre that she's not the only person that's claimed there's no story. It's like, I don't understand.
There is one. You're just wrong. There is one. There is a story. It's thin. That's the more apt observation.
Simple.
I found a couple of things. One was confusing.
Confusing.
That's what so there wasn't a story, but it confused me. Like, pick one.
It was toxic, right? And torture.
Why don't any of the other humans look like Mario and his family? And why is the
Okay,
human
that's a
world-
really
I mean, yes, they
insulting
do.
thing to say about Italians, but okay, whatever. Wow.
I mean, if she sound like the art style is inconsistent, is that like her claim?
I don't even remember. I'd have to compare all
Surely
of
that's
the...
in all Illumination movies, right?
I have no
Well,
idea.
I don't know what she's. I don't know what she's saying here. Like, I don't,
So
I don't
that
even
Mario,
understand.
Luigi, and the rest of their family don't look like the random citizens of Brooklyn, I guess.
I mean, I feel like Spike matches their style.
I'd have to rewatch it. I don't remember that
Honestly.
being a thing,
Yeah, I
but
thought they're short.
Right. What I thought she was getting at was the distinction between the Brooklyn world and the Mario, like the game world. And I'm like, well, that's the point. Like, they're
Or is
in
she
one
talking about
world and then they
characters,
fall
though?
into another
I don't
one.
think she means that.
Well, she said humans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said like that. She's
Oh, she
story
did,
they
okay.
do have, I found a couple of things. One was confusing. Like, why don't any of the other humans look like Mario and his family? And
Yeah.
there it is.
why is the human world super realistic yet full of cartoon-looking
Super- okay,
characters?
calm
I was
down.
like, that's weird.
Do you say this
It's an
about like,
Illumination film.
I don't understand that point at all. Like, does she say that about like any? What is she saying there? Like, because
world needs to
like,
be more
Brooklyn looks like,
Bouncy and cartoony, I guess. But
I don't know, man. Like, it feels pretty cartoony. Like,
It is
when
cartoony,
they're in
yeah.
Brooklyn.
Very
Yeah.
cartoony.
The animation, though, again, is stunning. And some of the backgrounds in the human world looked almost real. But again, that was so bizarre that there were cartoons running around in there. Back to the story.
What the
dude, do you think she would have trouble watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Like,
do you think she would have trouble watching actual television in our world?
Is she specifically saying like, oh, Brooklyn was like really high fidelity? Because like a lot of animated films have like very high fidelity like worlds and still have like more cartoonish looking characters in them.
Mhm.
No,
Is
she's
this
saying
something-
it looked real. She could turn around and look out the window of whatever building she's in at the moment, and she would confuse that for
What she's
the
talking
background of this movie.
except there wouldn't be cartoon people jumping up and down, and that's what ruined it.
Story, I would also say it's a little disturbing. Because apparently in the games, Bowser, I had to look it up, Bowser is
Why?
I had to look it up because I don't know
I did the
anything about what the
research.
fuck I'm talking.
I needed to know.
obsessed with Princess Peach and has been for a very long time. But in today's marketplace, post Me Too,
I,
Any affection showed towards a
Where is
female.
this
He's the bad guy. He's literally the villain. What do you mean? In Post
I'm
Me
just saying,
Too.
Bowser didn't get the memo.
I mean, the plot of Mario Odyssey involved a big wedding at the end. Wasn't that post?
Yeah,
Me Too
that's
as
that's
well?
pretty unacceptable, John, in a
And also
Post
the
Me Too
Japanese don't
world.
give a
They wouldn't even understand. They'd be like, "What do you mean?" It's like you can't have a guy trying to kidnap a girl and marry her. That's what.
This does not make sense.
He's romantic.
I don't know, man.
I don't understand. I like the little cringe grimace she's got on. Wow, Bowser, pretty cringe of you to kidnap Peach.
They are all beautiful.
You know, I don't think
would she also think that Beauty and the Beast is cringe?
Yes,
It's like a monster, and
especially in a
relationship.
post Me Too era, dude. You
Then
can't be
she'd be like-
portraying people going after ladies, okay? That's fucked up.
Representing men as beasts is a nice, realistic touch that I appreciate it.
She just wants a Bowser for her. Where's her Bowser?
I
Where
want
is
a
she going
Bowser.
with this? What point is she about to make?
I think it's
She might not
clear,
be
but we
making a
can
point,
let it
just
play.
making a random observation.
Peach, and has been
So was it post Me Too mythology?
for a very long time.
Did Me
But
Too
today's
happen in
Mar-
the Mario?
yes, it did. And Bowser don't give a fuck,
I want to know
apparently.
if did 9/11 happen in the Mushroom Kingdom?
Yes.
I don't know.
Marketplace post Me Too? To hear Bowser declare that he's going to ask Princess Peach to marry him, which apparently isn't a spoiler because I looked it up and it happens in the games all the time.
It doesn't happen in the games all the time. It
Looked it
happened-
up. They get married often.
I just love it. It's just like I'm not spoiling it for you. Don't worry. When the dinosaurs said the marriage thing, I haven't spoiled the story. Don't worry.
that's
Mario
a part of
Games message on
Sunshine, like, that's
spousal
it, right?
fidelity is a little confusing.
Especially in the post to Me Too era.
Where is she going with this?
That it's fucked up that he wants to steal the lady.
Someone please marry me.
She wants a Bowser for
She
herself.
does understand that like Bowser is the villain, right?
I don't know if she knows that yet. Let's see.
Apparently isn't a spoiler because I looked it up and it happens
I
in the
looked it up.
games all the
Bowser
time.
is the villain.
He's like, I'm gonna ask Princess Peach to marry me, and like his little sycophant sorcerer is like, what if she doesn't want to? And he's like, then I'll destroy her kingdom and kill everyone she knows. And you're like, wow, that's stalker behavior. And
He's a bad man.
Hey, that's so nice.
I'm gonna
Hey,
destroy the
villain's
world.
not
That's
being very
stalker
considerate
behavior.
of other people's feelings.
Does she? He's the villain.
I don't even.
Yeah.
What is a stalker behavior? It's psychopath behavior. What do you mean stalker? Like,
Hang on,
oh,
is she
she's
saying it's not a spoiler because it happened in other media?
yes.
Yeah, it's not a good point, especially when she's saying that it needs to stand on its own.
Especially when she learned about it yesterday herself.
He's gonna destroy
She had to
the whole
Google all
world.
this
What
stuff.
a
It's not a
stalker.
spoiler. I had to Google the answer.
That's just not how I would categorize world domination. Stalker behavior. You know what, Grace? That's great.
he's like, then I'll destroy her kingdom and kill everyone she knows. And you're like, wow, that's stalker behavior. And I would say, kind of makes this not appropriate for children, quite frankly.
I mean,
This
if you wanna
movie is
take-
not
if you wanna
appropriate for
take-
children.
If you want to take the stance that Mario is not appropriate for children, like, I mean, you can do that if you want, I guess.
It's a bold statement, Grace.
And it was the stalker behavior that makes this inappropriate for children, not like the destruction of an entire kingdom and all of its inhabitants.
No, it's the stalker behavior. God.
I thought that the suicide obsessed Luma was like a really
Yeah.
edgy element for such a
Yeah.
child-focused
That
movie.
is
That would be my
That's
first
a
thing on the
spicy
list
one.
for most inappropriate thing for children, but at the same
I
time,
really enjoyed that element of the movie.
yeah, I thought it was
but
funny.
I was really confused that it made it in.
You wouldn't expect it to make it in, but the idea that it's like, you can't expose a child to the notion that an evil dragon would destroy the world for a girl or whatever. You're like, oh. Why?
Are you saying women aren't worth destroying the
like-
world for, Grace?
How does she feel about like villains in any like family like oriented animated film?
Well,
Wait till
think of
she
all the
figures
Disney
out that
classics,
some
right?
Kids' movies have like
Yeah, I mean,
horrific
I mean,
villains.
think about Scar. Think about everything that Scar did. Like, holy shit, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
Gaston.
You
he
see
was an
Scar
asshole.
toss Mufasa off the cliff, and you're thinking, that's stalker behavior.
Like Clayton,
This kind of lust for power isn't the message we want to be sending to children.
Jafar. Like, I don't know. Like, what does she make of all that?
That's not the golden rule.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, the Mario movie is like pretty tame compared to like some of the stuff that happens in like older Disney films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. If you look
Like,
at the
there's
Black
blood in Sleeping
Cauldron
Beauty.
and things like
There's
that, like
blood
there's
in
some
that
like
film.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Black Cauldron.
The Empire
I mean,
blew up
uh,
Alderaan. Is
Hunchback
that
of
stalker
Notre
behavior?
Dame.
Hunchback of Notre Dame is like
Frollo was a prick.
Yeah,
Like, damn, he was a real asshole.
Scary character. Yeah.
Great songs though.
The big
Stalker
problem,
behavior.
yeah, the big problem with blowing up Alderaan was that they did it in a post-Me Too era, and that is
Yeah, like how does she
Fucked
feel about kids watching Star Wars? when it
Alderaan
has a whole
exploded by
planet
Death
on
Star.
fire?
Women most affected.
what. This is a take I never ever would have expected anyone to ever have. That's why it's kind of wonderful. I've seen some people say she's a grifter. It's like, would a grifter ever say this?
I don't think a grifter would say this. This is like wild that you would say this. You're not going to get anybody on your side.
Yeah, like, who are you trying to
She's grifting for the people in the sanitarium.
They're all like, "Yeah, Grace.
Grace is our favorite content creator." I don't know what the crazy people sound like. I'm out of the loop, but they'd probably sound something like that.
Thank God she had the emoji on there. Otherwise, I really wouldn't have grasped the whole stalker behavior thing.
She used the correct yikes emoji.
She did. Well, maybe she had.
That's yikes.
Maybe she had grimace yikes before, and then she's like, "Oh, that's gonna really dampen when the big yikes happens. So I should put a different emoji
true.
up." There's a lot more thought behind this than you think.
Her behavior, and I would say, kind of makes this not appropriate for children, quite frankly.
I'd love for her to develop that. I just don't understand at all what she means.
And I would, in fact, I would argue that most of the movie is about who's going to date Princess Peach, and that's it.
There's some other stuff in there, I think.
No, only Bowser is concerned about someone else dating Peach. He's the only character who cares about
Bowser
it.
is obsessed with it. Mario's
they
main
make
concern
interested in saving Luigi.
There's one part in the movie where they make a
main
joke
concern.
about it, that Mario and her are, maybe gonna date or something.
I was
but
just
that's
trying
it.
to be nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the movie stays strong on Mario's concern is Luigi. It's
As
that's
Luigi.
it.
Yeah,
Number
he
one.
likes Peach,
Yeah.
but he wants to save his bro.
My jaw was on the floor. I'm like, is that really what this movie is about? That is a
It's
really
not about
It's
that.
not.
No,
It's not.
It's not
Mario.
about that.
It's about,
Even if it was, two people vying for the attention of a woman is a fine premise for a film.
Not for children, Rags, in a post-Me Too era.
like I'm
That's not like two different
No,
arguments,
one of
doesn't
them
it?
is bad.
I don't get it. Like the main core element of the plot, or and especially if you want to derive any thematic element, is about the relationship between Mario and Luigi. That's the most that's the part. That's the core.
Well, thank you.
outdated story. I think fans and
It's an outdated story, and yet it's made over $1 billion. What does she have to say about that? That we're all dinosaurs.
That
we
is
need
a little
to grow
awkward,
Up.
yeah.
Uh,
People don't want this. Makes $1 billion.
well, and someone that was kind of not working out in my brain. She's like, in a post-Me Too era, you can't do this. It's inappropriate for children. It's like, are those two things different arguments? Like, you can't do this in post-Me Too, also it's inappropriate for children, or that because it's post-Me Too, it's inappropriate for children? Which one did she mean?
Someone,
I don't even want to begin to try and figure that out.
I don't know.
floor. I'm like, is that really what this movie is about? That is a really outdated story. I think fans and just moviegoers in general, and everybody.
You said you Googled it and found out that is what the story is, so why would fans not like it? She's
As a
lying.
Mario fan,
men
I
should
only
not
want the
compete for the
story.
attention of women.
I want the Bowser simping story. That's as a fan.
Associated with this film deserve more. And it's a shame because Jack Black does a fantastic job as Bowser.
They are a normal
Not
part
as
of the
good
video.
as Donkey, not as good as Seth Rogen or
Yeah,
what's
not
her
my
face,
favorite.
Peach.
Remember? Yeah, that's not
Hey,
a favorite.
take the normal part of the video while we can, okay? That was
Okay, yeah.
come back to real.
Yeah,
Oh
the
God,
normal
look at the drop shadow.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
terrible.
my God! What the?
Disgusting.
How do
Oh.
you do that? Look at the
Yeah,
way.
you
Look
have
at
to
Chris,
really fuck with it to get that kind of
Why would you
result.
want it that way?
look at the soundtrack and Anna Taylor-Joy. Like the shadows are bumping into each other, but they can't touch.
Oh yeah, they're resisting each
Yeah,
other.
same thing on Chris Pratt and action sequences. They are they're repelling. They're like magnets.
that's
they're repelling.
gross.
But how do you do that?
Why do you do that?
Why?
Why,
Why?
Grace? Why?
Why?
Having
can't
no
even
visual would
recognize
have been a
it,
better
it's Jack-
decision.
Black's voice.
Yes.
Then Bowser sings, and you're like,
I mean,
oh yeah.
you can
could
tell
definitely
it's Jack
tell.
Black. He's
You
definitely
can
like
definitely tell it's him.
he is voice acting in the sense of trying to change like the sound of his voice to fit the character more. Like it's definitely still Jack Black.
Yeah.
Recognize that
it's a pretty good
it's
fit.
Jack Black's voice. Then Bowser sings, and you're like, "Oh yeah, he's voiced by Jack Black." And you still can't tell that it's Jack Black. And
What?
I think that
you can't
The
say
sentences
those two
next to each
statements.
other.
Those two sentences don't work.
Grace, redraft your thoughts.
Consecutive sentences consecutively.
How can you say? Yeah, how can you say that back to back?
the
You can
talent
tell
is
it's Jack Black, but it doesn't sound like him.
and
You
you're
can tell
like,
by the
"Oh,
voice,
yeah,
although it
he's
sounds
voiced by
like him."
Jack Black." And you still can't tell that it's Jack Black. And the
Oh no, it's worse than that. You can't tell it's Jack
worse.
Black.
You can tell,
Yeah.
but you can't tell.
Listen, it makes
How does
sense
your
if you
brain
don't
work?
think about it. It's like a Marvel movie. It's all following.
I think that
Schrodinger's Jack Black.
Yes.
talent is definitely
The
here.
mark of a
It's-
truly great performance. You can tell, but you also can't tell. It's him.
Jack knew what he was doing. That's what he was going
I
for.
could tell it was Patrick Stewart, but I couldn't tell it was Patrick
I
Stewart.
could tell it was Daniel Day-Lewis.
Not really.
As Jack Black.
it's really
That's
just
the
the
poop
script.
emoji.
So Jack Black was fantastic. Also, in an effort to move away from speaking of disturbing, I would also classify
Oh.
this movie as a little offensive because instead of doing the Italian accents,
Is the flag just in case?
Oh no.
Instead of doing Italian accents.
ironically, because they
Ooh.
were worried about being offensive, instead they decided to give everyone a variation of a New York accent, which again,
Whoa, they gave these New Yorkers New York accents?
Is she about to argue it's a stereotype rather than just an accent? Is that what we're doing?
Wait.
kind of offensive. It's like everyone's either in Goodfellas or a Woody Allen movie.
These caricatures are caricatures.
The people from this region generally have the same kind of dialect.
They live in Brooklyn. And also, do you think she'd be able to watch The Simpsons? Would she be able to do it? I don't think so.
What, like it would make her brain explode?
Yeah, but then again, that is happening these days anyway for a lot of people. So gotta switch them out.
Because, and not just in the New York scenes, by the way. Mario and Luigi live in New York City, but you're like when you get to the Mushroom Kingdom, Donkey Kong Land is
Donkey Kong Land.
I like
Alright,
it.
where's this going?
the same way.
At
And
least
so
you
you're
didn't call it
just kinda
Africa, so yeah, that's good.
Like,
Fucking
why
hell.
would you make that choice? Like, why do you think that's somehow not offensive and the Italian thing would be? It's just crazy.
Wait,
Crazy.
what is her point?
Oh
I have
god.
no idea what she's talking about.
Now you can
He
see
has
the
the
drop
mind,
Wait,
she's
why did
so-
that happen to the drop shadow? What's going on now? You guys got the same image that
Whoa,
I have?
why? How come press screening is so much darker than everything else?
That's what I'm seeing now. Which there it up. Like blurring it all.
it's
What do we
like-
do, Grace? Are we zooming into
And
a
now the
photo
whole
right now?
screen is
Whoa.
purple? Oh.
Okay. It was a portion of someone's poster. Sorry, it's hard to keep track of this narrative.
Choice. Like, why do you think that's somehow not offensive and the
What is
Italian
her point here? We need to rewind. What is she saying?
We'll go back way far.
Because and not just in the New York scenes, by the way. Mario and Luigi live in New York City, but you're like when you get to the Mushroom Kingdom, Donkey Kong Land is the same way, and so you're just kind of like,
The same way.
why
What
would
do
you
you mean the
make
same
that
way?
choice? Like, why do
What
you think
accent
that's
she
somehow
doing?
Like
not
gorillas or
offensive and
something,
the
I don't
Italian
know.
thing would be. It's just crazy.
I
the movie
am lost. I'm totally lost. What is she saying?
I'm not actually sure.
also leans really heavily on classic hit songs, a little bit the way.
Oh, we're done with it. We're just moving on.
All right.
Okay,
Well, that
yeah.
point's finished.
Point
I love
made.
the idea of her being offended by like the way Donkey Kong talks. Like that's very offensive. Like that's just Seth Rogen's voice.
But also, Seth Rogen was her favorite. Like that was.
But how many
She
even
really likes Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
how many characters do we even hear in Donkey Kong Land, as she puts it?
We got Cranky Kong,
Like
we got
3,
Donkey
4?
Kong, and then was that meant to be Funky
The
Kong? Who
greeter?
was like taking them to was that Funky Kong?
The
I
body.
can't remember the voice Funky
I don't
Kong
think
had,
it
if that
was.
Funky Kong.
I don't think it
He,
was.
didn't really. Yeah, he didn't quite.
Doesn't Diddy Kong speak?
I think he might have said like one line.
couple words,
I think-
Maybe, yeah. So,
offensive and the Italian thing would be. It's just
Consider me
crazy.
unconvinced.
The movie also leans really heavily on classic hit songs, a little bit the way Guardians of the Galaxy has done. And it sometimes it gets your blood pumping.
Guardians
It's
of the
not a bad-
Galaxy also did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something in terms of like if you've watched that movie, that's how it's songs that you know in a film.
Strategy, but here it's very poorly executed. Like everything, just when you're like, okay, now we're cooking, it peters out, and they're like, okay, we're done, and you're
Oh, that's their issue. Is they cut out too fast.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I didn't want them in there at all.
No.
But
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I thought it
didn't
was
know.
probably the worst element of the movie. It was so distracting
Yeah.
in the 80s.
Didn't like it.
And like I get it, but
Didn't like it at all.
You're like,
should've just
oh,
had
we
the
didn't-
Mario music.
Yeah.
you promised me a fun jam. Like when they start to make the Mario Karts, and you know, and one of the Kongs is like puts on his shades and he's like, "What do you want me to do for you?" But he just says it with a nod, and you're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Do you think that this scene was harmed by the?
What are we doing? What's happening?
Dude, we're 2/3 in, and if you're trying to gather what it is you need to do to change the movie to make her like it, and like the main thing she highlighted was like, loved it when the character puts on the shades and nods his head. You're like,
More Italian accents
Okay.
and shades.
I don't even like. That's so weird.
And one of the Kongs is like puts on his shades and he's like, "What do you want me to do for you?" But he just says it with a nod, and you're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
she got aroused.
You would have the Donkey
She
Kong?
got
What's
aroused.
going on? It's
And it
fine
seems-
if you
Oh,
do.
no.
Just tell me.
The next topic is Anya Taylor-Joy girl power. Oh,
Like it's gonna be awesome. The music starts, they turn up the volume, and then they're done. And I was like, I guess if you've ever
To
built
me,
your own
this
Mario
is
Kart, you
particularly. This is so awkward because like that was the scene where they had the Mario Kart 8 music. I thought she was going to make a point about that and how it was like an Easter egg.
He
that-
doesn't know.
Well, I guess that would be an example of it's like, I mean, is that an Easter egg? Like, at what point is it an Easter egg versus, you know,
It's
like
just a thing, you
Yeah,
I
know?
thought that was a great Easter egg.
I liked it a lot. I mean, I liked all of the music when they integrated like the music from the games in there.
Yeah.
But then again, she has no idea. She hadn't played any Nintendo games. She didn't notice, and just like, no, I was talking about the other music in that scene.
they turn up the volume, and then they're done. And I was like, I guess if you've ever built your own Mario Kart, you'd be like, oh, cool, it's just like the game.
your
But
own
as someone
Mario
who's
Kart.
never built a Mario Kart, I
Built
still
a
have
Mario
What do you-
Kart.
Built a
She
Mario
thinks
Kart.
that they're called Mario Karts. They drive on Mario Karts.
Yeah, they're called carts.
no,
Mario
Mario
Karts.
Karts.
They're called
And
Mario
Mario
Karts.
From
They all
Nintendo
drive on
Land.
Mario Karts. He invented them so that they
Nintendo
could go
Land,
go
yes.
karting. He made one for Bowser and all the dry bones and everyone.
pleasure of the experience. But I did really like Anya Taylor-Joy. She is always a delight as a.
We are just jumping all over
Yeah,
the place.
we're back to this now.
There's
We-
not even like a character section or something.
There's no semblance of order. It's like, yeah, man, you know, like it was really cool when they were playing. It was, what was it? Thunderstruck, was it?
I think
so.
But yeah. And it's
I
like,
thought
yeah,
that was
man.
a terrible choice.
I would have wanted just more Mario music.
I'll always
I would
want the
need
original
pop-
soundtrack, yeah.
pop songs, yeah. I
Like
don't.
Dolphin
It's
Shoals.
like, yeah, man, they had a lot of choices. Damn, there's so many choices they could have. Damn.
Mario Kart
Yeah.
8 has one of the greatest soundtracks of any video game,
Ah,
and they used
really
one
good.
track.
It's really good. It's a really good soundtrack. I mean, they could have used the like Mario Kart 8 theme itself. They could have used any of the themes actually. I'm kind of surprised they didn't use any of them. They used the menu music, but they didn't use like the just core Mario Kart motif.
actress
Oh, but
on screen.
that's Double Dash.
Yeah.
But like all of the Mario Kart games incorporate the SNES theme, except for Super Circuit, I think. But all of them like will incorporate the original theme into the song.
Did they use the Rainbow Road music when they got to
They
Rainbow Road?
they use the SNES Rainbow Road music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which they got a lot of choices that they could have, because like N64 Rainbow Road's pretty that's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
I really like Mario Kart Wii's Rainbow Road music as well. I like all of the Rainbow Road music, really. I like all the music more or less from all the Mario Kart games. You have a lot of
It's so
options.
good.
You know how
That's why it's annoying when they choose pop culture, like pop songs.
mention how that she doesn't have like a
Thunderstruck.
character section, but she does have Bowser, Anya Taylor-Joy,
Mm.
Toad, Chris Pratt. Like,
I know, we're just jumping back and forth between characters
It's
and
like
actors.
Sometimes
She
it's
spilled all her thoughts on the floor, and now we're just haphazardly picking them up.
I thought, well, because she clearly makes these chapters after, right? They're based on her random thoughts, and then she tries to create a semblance of topics. I
Right,
guess she has like
yeah.
a notepad she's working from.
Always a delight as an actress on screen, but it turns out she has a great voice for animation as well. And she
It's fine.
It's fine. Like it's fine. The way what she did was fine. I guess that's what they wanted.
I guess
So
some that says it's like I don't know that I would say that the role let her do anything that was super
Yeah.
interesting. Really,
Yeah, I'm sure she.
it's like she is the most normal like character and performance out of the lot. I would say.
Hmm.
Because like even Mario has moments where it's like whoa, like getting hurt and falling into an abyss and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's a weird choice to yeah.
sport. Look what she wore to the premiere for the movie, a variation on Princess.
Why are we
Peach's,
talking about this?
I
Like
don't
I guess
know.
it's kind of neat, but like I don't know.
Because it popped
time is
into
of
her
the
head.
essence here.
That's why we're talking about it, because it
Mario
occurred to
Kart
her.
outfit. I thought that was great.
Okay.
I am a little tired though of girl power for the sake of girl power characters. Like if you're not going to fully develop them, I just get frustrated because I know certain groups are going to complain.
Wait, so she does. This is amazing how we've come around this far, right? So you have like, let's just take the most clownish thing of like someone being like, I hate it when women are in movies, and then she sees that, and then she sees someone puts a woman in a movie, and then she's like, oh great. Now you're gonna set the people off who hate women. Like, how did we get here, Grace?
Rags going now.
Yeah, it's what a cowardly way to do that criticism, where you're like, I hate the girl power stuff because other people will highlight it as a bad thing.
not me though.
Yeah, it's like, what are you saying,
like,
Grace?
I don't really understand the point that she's making. Peach isn't like a super fleshed out character, so her being competent is annoying. I don't get that. I don't understand.
That's the thing. I'm waiting for her details, but so far, I think, in mid-thought, she aborted. She was like, oh, I shouldn't say that the woman being strong is bad. So I'll say it's bad that you put a strong woman in there because other people will say that's bad. Or something. Listen to what she says.
Outfit. I thought that was great. I am a little tired though of girl power for the sake of girl power characters. Like if you're not going to fully develop them, I just get frustrated because I know certain groups are going to complain.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what?
I think I get
What
you
is
mean
your
in terms of, like almost she was going somewhere else and then she kind of stopped herself.
Yeah, because if her complaint is that Peach is not characterized well enough, she's sort of just there to be strong and competent, and that's annoying. You want to see more from the character, which comes into the realm of what we were saying about it. We wanted more from Peach. We thought she was she's like the weakest character in the whole film because she's kind of just there doing her thing all the time. Like everyone else has an
It feels
element
like
to
she's
them.
more often there to facilitate what Mario's doing more so than doing much like in terms of like developing her character. The most that we got was like elements of her backstory, but I don't know, I guess that's like potential for future sequels maybe.
Yeah, because she's so vague. It's like, say more.
And you should have justification for things. It's
Well,
like if
there
you're
is
not
a
going to do it right,
justification.
don't do it. And again,
I mean-
she's all girl power, but yet the movie is just about who she's going to date. She's a princess in name only. I didn't see.
What?
Man, that's like a lot of wrong statements all at once.
Wait, hang
Yeah,
on. I want to
it's
roll all of that
That
back.
was
And
wrong.
I'll
We
go,
need to take that-
this time
we
I'm
need to
going to
take that
pause
slower.
once she hits the end of the whatever this is.
for things. It's like if you're not going to do it right, don't do it. And again, she's all girl power, but yet the movie is just about who she's going to date. She's a princess in name only. I didn't see her make any rules or control the kingdom or anything.
What do you mean? She's like,
The political presence
yeah,
of
so
Princess
we
Peach
can,
wasn't realized well enough for
There
me to
wasn't a
believe
single-
a system of governance.
what
Man,
the?
that's just so many wrong statements, like totally wrong statements. If she's saying like a justification for her being competent, it's like, I mean, there's a pretty normal one. She lived there and it's useful.
But
and
we don't
helpful.
even know what part of it she's referring to. Now we're talking about how we didn't even get to see her doing princess
like,
things like
Yeah, as
leading
far
the
as I
kingdom,
know,
which is precisely
Her
why
complaint
the
is we
plot
didn't see her
happens.
enact any
What
legislation.
is
like,
Princess
she is-
Peach's tax code?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see a single scene talking
Like,
about any of that.
She is the leader of the Mushroom Kingdom. She makes all of the important decisions about the future of
What a
that
bizarre
kingdom.
request.
She facilitates the
Right.
quest.
She would obviously be shaped into like a very like strong, competent person by the fact that all her life she's ruling over an entire society.
I just can't get over this. She's saying, like,
Phantom Menace, then, right?
as part of fixing this movie, we need to see Princess Peach doing politics.
Enacting legislation, yeah.
Which, technically
with
speaking,
Parliament, yeah.
Her, like,
He
trying to
does.
meet with the Donkey Kong people to, you know,
exactly.
like, that's like the
That's
children's
diplomacy.
politics angle.
Diplomacy.
Yeah, like, why? What a weird. Like, I didn't see her make any rules, is what she said, by the way, which is hilarious.
Mm.
She basically has the final vote for all the toads. She rules the land. I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, what? How do we get here? Peach rules the Mushroom Kingdom, woman. What are you
She's
saying?
a princess in name
Yeah.
only. I didn't see her make any rules or.
I want to see her execute dissidents in the public square.
You ain't a true leader until you made some rules.
Lop off
control
some
the
heads.
kingdom or anything. You know, she just kind of went on a date with Mario, and Bowser was really jealous about it.
What? Princess would never marry a foreigner. That would never happen.
I'm trying to figure out if like that's actually just bad faith or if this is like her quest is she wants Mario like she's gonna take Mario with her to go to the Kong Kingdom to like request aid to defend the Mushroom Kingdom against Bowser. She's not going on a date.
I can't believe we're saying this. This is so weird. Like,
This is the Mario movie.
I
yeah.
can't believe that why is
What
she
are we
having such a
doing?
reductive
Why
she's
are we
having
here?
a reductive perspective on a character who like in a lot of ways probably could use a little bit more like story and more material, but like even with it, she's come away with this incredibly reductive.
I think it's just rotted her brain. That aspect of the film is taken over everything else. Like, she hates the facts.
Because like there's a meta conversation about like what like Princess Peach.
Bowser wants
like,
to
it's-
marry Peach. That's like, it's just too much for her. She's like, that's disgusting. Like, okay. I don't know what do we do? Like, she's like, why wasn't there any politics?
Yeah,
Fucked up the
we needed
movie.
more scenes of Peach doing boring political stuff like signing legislation.
She's just in that Senate room in the Star Wars. Like,
That's what I'm saying. She must have loved the Phantom Menace or something.
You're like, is this really what this movie is about?
No, it's
Keegan-Michael-
not about
No,
that.
you
No,
made that
it-
up, Grace.
it really
You
isn't.
made it up and then
Not at
said you
all.
didn't like it.
You're hallucinating again, Grace.
Key's voice is also unrecognizable.
You
as
need to
Toad, which
wake
is a
up,
shame. I love
Grace.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Why is it a shame?
It's
This
a
is
shame that he was putting on a voice.
the voice actor.
Do you know what acting is?
I don't know.
Like, as a concept?
But Toad is adorable, and he serves as a good ad for his new restaurant at Universal Studios.
He serves as a good,
What? Why is this your review?
I've never been, but I'd like to go.
a good ad for a restaurant at Universal Studios. It's not like
That's all he was there for.
It's like a major character in Mario.
It was not seconds ago we were talking about how bad it was that
Hang on.
Princess Peach isn't making rules, and now we're into the ad for Toadstool Cafe.
But you know that there's so
Any
many
of you
Easter
heard
eggs,
of
man, and
this
they're really
restaurant?
bad. The Easter eggs are really bad, but damn, man, Toad was a great advertisement for a restaurant at a theme park.
What the f*** is the video? Why do you make them these ways?
I hope the Toadstool Cafe has a good chickpea grumbo. That's all I want.
I
Toadstool
too.
Cafe, that is kind of like that's kind of neat.
I'd go
Kind
there.
of like
In
that.
fact, I wish he'd done more cooking. I was like, oh, that's why he has a restaurant. That's great. That's
He has
Oh
a
my
restaurant
God.
because his character cooks in the movie.
I just like that's what she got out of the film. It's like how it relates to Nintendo Land. Like,
He should have done more cooking in the movie because of the restaurant.
I don't even
Well, I
know
guess
what's
this
the
is
substance
this is
there
her-
at all.
Well, I guess this is revealing, right? This is her major point of reference for Mario. Is not like the games. It's
The
specifically
theme park
Super
in
Nintendo
Universal
World.
Studios.
Yeah,
she said
that's
she hasn't
what
even
she-
been, so she's just talking about
No,
seeing pictures
she's
of
watched
Toadstool
videos.
Cafe.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
That's awesome. What are you making? There was one quick moment where I can't
you don't need to edit this out. It's fine.
do a spoiler review for this movie because I still can't really tell you what happened in it. But there
yet
was
you
like
feel
one
confident enough to just barrel forward with
Yeah,
your
why
review
not?
anyway.
Yep, she's doing a oneer.
We're getting.
One
Oh,
take.
Chris Pratt is next, apparently.
distraction, and I felt
Never
like
let
they didn't
facts
do
get
that
in the way
right.
of a
I was-
good review.
But there was like one distraction, and I felt like they didn't even do that right. I was like, tell them that there's good food back there, Mario. Why do you know?
What is going on? I rewound it,
This
but
is
let's go further.
very oddly
Is
hung
she
up on
talking
this
about,
thing with the
Because
restaurant.
I still can't really tell you what happened in it. But there was like one
This is the
distraction, and
strangest
I felt
complaint
like they
about a
didn't even
movie
do
I've
that
ever
right. I
heard,
was
that the
like,
ad for
tell
the
them-
restaurant
Yeah, I
wasn't
bet-
good enough.
Is she talking about the part where Toad like sat down and cooked? Like he got his like saucepan started cooking while talking to the Toad so that Mario could sneak
I don't know if
in?
that would
That's
make
the only-
sense though, because where would he be saying to go? Like
I'm guessing it's but like she was just talking about him and the cafe. That's like the only connection I can think of.
it just
Oh,
sounds
yeah,
like the fix she's suggesting is that Toad then says like, "Come and check out our awesome food at Toadstool Cafe," and looks at the screen or
what he
something.
establishes like a cafe.
There is
in-
one
Yeah.
location worldwide. Come and see.
I don't feel that Toad's entrepreneurial restauranting career was accurately portrayed in the movie and should be explored more
I
thoroughly.
feel like your impression is improving like gradually the more
it's
that
strong.
you just keep working on it.
And I would say as well, if you were a Nintendo rep, like being like, "We're gonna change up the new movie according to what
Saw
Grace
this video.
wants," what the monster
do you
did you end
even
up with
say?
of a movie?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Can't do
You
a
end up with
spoiler
some-
review for this movie
I-
because I still can't really tell you what happened in it. But there was
Okay,
like
then.
one distraction,
What?
and I felt
Just
like they
review
didn't
it
do that
anyway.
right. I
F-
was
it.
like, tell them that there's good food back there, Mario. Why do you be like, hey, he's cooking up something back there? I was like,
she
yeah,
is talking.
clearly-
About, yeah, she's definitely talking. That doesn't even
It
make
was
any
like
sense. Mario called
Something
more
relating to
attention
They're on a
cooking and a
bridge.
distraction, I guess. Whatever.
so
I
she's
think
saying that
he
Mario
says
would run
that
up to them and
he's-
say, "Hey, go over there into
I
Toadstool's
think she's
Cafe."
saying when he gets in the castle that like he goes up to the Toads and says, "Oh, they're cooking." Like they're cooking over there.
Why does
which
that
just calls
benefit
way more
anything?
attention to himself. It just calls more attention to himself. How is that a better idea than trying to
It
just
sounds like the only thing you get is more reference for some reason that satisfies
Yeah.
the hell out of her
But
to
I thought,
Toadstool
why do these
Cafe.
references? So
I
these
thought she
references
didn't like
were
the Easter
okay.
eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
She likes the ones she knows.
Definitely the move. All right, so speaking of Mario,
Okay,
how's Chris
here we
Pratt?
go.
Everybody wants
Speaking
to
of
know,
the
how's
topic
Chris
of the
Pratt?
video,
Well, he's doing a thick New York accent, so he doesn't sound too much like Chris Pratt. I mean, occasionally
Ah,
realize,
come
oh,
on.
there he
From-
is.
Nah, come on.
I don't understand. Is voice acting new to her as a concept, or acting in general?
Because I
Yeah.
think he did a
Also-
pretty good job.
But also, like,
Yeah.
come on. He doesn't sound like Chris Pratt at all. It's like, really?
I could
You
hear
can
it,
tell
but
it's
maybe
Chris
some
Pratt.
people can't. You know.
And Chris Pratt, by the way, outside of the controversy that surrounds him, he's
I
a
didn't
very
know
good
there was
actor,
one.
a very likable actor, and he does a good job in that regard with the emotion and all that stuff. He's certainly
The emotion and all that
Emotion
stuff.
and all that stuff.
Emotion and all that stuff.
Whatever. Whatever it is.
is able to deliver in that capacity. But again, the script is so awful.
Oh my
Mario
God,
and
it
Luigi's
Oh,
relationship
okay,
just
so
seems
that's it.
All right.
Oh,
Wait,
here we
finally.
go.
Okay,
Oh,
this
here
is
we
probably
go.
the closest we'll get
Here
to
we
like
go.
a criticism
Here
that
we
could
go.
be something we could talk about.
awful.
Do with the movie.
Mario and Luigi's relationship just seems really forced. It's like screenwriter Matthew Fogel, who should
It's like the main thing I have to
It-
compliment about the movie.
Yeah, it's the best part of the film.
It kind of is, isn't it?
And, like,
it really just sort of is.
People have
They're
been
brothers.
saying, like,
What does she
the-
mean it's forced?
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess she's
Forced genetically.
because I would even say like the chemistry between them is pretty strong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
That
work
makes
well
sense.
together.
I don't know. What? Say more.
never work again. He's done a couple of stuff for Illumination. That's about it. It's like
Well, whoever.
a
If you're
couple
saying
of stuff.
if you're saying this guy wrote it, they're gonna be bringing him back probably because it's making a lot of money. That's how that works. Okay, Michael Waldron got Avengers. We mentioned this earlier. It was foreshadowing.
he saw Frozen and decided to do the male version of Elsa and Anna. But none
What is the
Lol.
What?
the
so-
story? I've seen
so,
Frozen. There's no similarity
What
between the
the
relation of those two and those
Exactly.
two.
They're not the same. They're not the same. They're totally
Well,
different stories.
They're two people, and then
They have
those are two
noses.
people as well. I don't know. Yeah, sure, why not?
of the work to make it work. And since they insisted on putting Mario in the real world, so to speak, why do he
What do you mean, so to speak, though? Like it's the real. It's
Well,
not
'cause
our
it's in
world.
a movie, you see. It's not actually the real world.
But she says it as though it's more significant than the world for them.
No, like, that's because it's important for her to understand that.
and Luigi wear those funny outfits and gloves? I was like,
Wait, can we rewind that?
Yes, we can.
work. And since they insisted on putting Mario in the real world, so to speak, why do he and Luigi wear those funny outfits and gloves? I was like, you guys,
explicit. There's Did you
I
watch
thought that
the
was pretty
film?
clever the way they did that.
Did you watch the film?
No, why? Explain. Why would they wear such goofalizer outfits?
Even though it is explicit why they wore the goofy outfits.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
they
it's
insist
All
on
these
putting them in the
plumbers
real
wearing
world, so
overalls.
They don't do that.
they
And
insist on
shirts
putting
that
them.
have color?
Yeah, I mean they insist on putting them in the real world so they can do a fish out of water story where they're in the game world and Mario has to learn the ropes and all that. You don't want to start off Mario in that world unless you're doing like a sequel, I guess.
Oh, there's plenty of options for that, but she's saying she has no idea why they were wearing these outfits.
The reason why they
Yeah,
wore it
regarding
was
the outfits,
specifically because like Mario thought that it would be like a unique thing, a unique selling point. They wanted to create a look that was distinct.
It's like
And they got a lot of
uniforms for their
flack for it.
company.
Because
Yeah,
that's the
which
thing is like
it's a thing that happens.
like everybody
in
was
real world.
everybody in the world was calling attention to the fact that it was like a unique look. Like it wasn't. It was surprising everybody. Like I don't. Why would she make this point?
Well,
like-
the other, of course, context is like, why are they wearing these funny outfits? I think because we can answer the question differently, but I imagine most audiences listening to this would be like, "That's Mario and
Would be like,
Luigi."
that's what
Their
Mario-
outfits.
Yeah, that's their outfit. That's what they wear.
And if she's actually saying like, "I need justifications for all of this," and like, she's going to be shat on by everybody at that point.
Of course. Yeah, asking like for an explanation for why Mario and Luigi look like Mario and Luigi is not-
Yeah, explain yourselves, Nintendo.
Why do
Why do
they?
these characters have designs?
Why do they do their mustaches like that? We explain that, please.
Look ridiculous. I mean, none of it
I
made
mean-
sense.
They look
It's not
ridiculous.
classical Italian
By
garb.
the way, I don't like that she said that. They look ridiculous.
They look awesome.
This shit
It's
is iconic.
overalls and a shirt. Like, what do you want?
I'd say it's just like good character design. I don't know what to say. Like Mario is just really good character design. Like this is like a really good like universal.
He's one of the most
season
recognizable
arc.
characters in
Don't say
history
that
at
word.
this point.
Just ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just because he's popular, but because that boy stands out. Look at that.
I mean, Miyamoto could like explain to you the reason why Mario looks like Mario. It wasn't like some arbitrary decision.
No,
It
they
was
look
kind of born out
ridiculous.
of the it was partially born out of the limitations of you know the technology at the time and like the need to create like Mario has a very distinctive silhouette, which is obviously super useful for like video game reasons, but it also translates super well into all sorts of formats. It's a I don't know, that annoys me. Oh yeah, it looks ridiculous. Like
Big. Why do he and Luigi wear those funny outfits and gloves? I was like, you guys look ridiculous. I mean, none of it made sense. Nothing.
none of it made sense that they wore like
These
like,
clothes.
that
Of all the
outfit.
things to pick on for the movie for not making sense,
Which
it's that they
the
chose
film-
these clothes.
which the film even like calls attention
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Mario's
and
like, what? You gotta have like unique like aesthetic. You gotta have a look.
The movie made sense, so it was hard for me to get into any of it. Speaking of Mario and Luigi, though, Charles Martinet, he had a
Brilliant
nice
segue.
cameo. He is the
Great
OG
grace.
and current voice of Mario and Luigi in the games, and a lot of fans were disappointed he's not voicing them here.
Yeah.
But even I was like, oh, that's Charles Martinet. That's awesome. And I think it
didn't
was a
know.
very nice
You
thing
didn't
to
know.
do. for
I
him.
think
He
you're
showed
lying.
Up, I think twice. He showed up like
you
twice.
would have looked this up, right?
maybe she did, yeah.
Very, very briefly, but it was cute. Even the action sequences aren't that exciting. There's like no suspense. It's just like, oh, hey, look, it's like the game. But
How do you know?
How do you know that? And also, how do you know that?
Yeah, the whole thing was that she has no idea what happens in the games.
you never really feel like you're running any of the gauntlets yourself. You
What?
I mean,
What?
I'm
You?
just-
How
I mean,
dare you say that? You, of all people.
I'm confused.
still look like you're watching the game screen instead of being put into the action. That's the whole
I mean-
benefit of making it a movie.
What?
I
I don't
benefit
even-
of making
I
a
am
movie.
so lost.
Let's
lost
be
as well.
careful of not making these bizarre, like sweeping statements to impugn video games. All right.
Why would you say, like, compared to a video game that the movie's supposed to drag you in? You know what I mean? Like, when you
Like,
say the game
If
does
anything, it
that
would be
because
the
you're
opposite-
playing
If
it.
anything, it would be
Something.
the opposite
Yeah.
way around. Yeah. If
Yeah,
anything.
the movie's like you're viewing a spectacle of Mario, like,
Yep.
struggling and then nailing it or whatever. Like, why have we flipped
But
them
also,
so that
like, weird to criticize, like, the action set pieces of, like, that's a weird one to complain about.
well, because when I saw them, I was just
They're,
like, yep,
very
this is
anesthetic.
they did everything they
fun.
needed to do. Here it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, hey, look, it's like the game. But you never really feel like you're running any of the gauntlets yourself.
I'm sorry, I never, when thinking about watching the Mario Bros. Movie, I never thought, like, I better feel like I'm running those gauntlets, otherwise I'm going to be
Despite
upset.
the fact that I feel like the animators put a lot of effort into trying to make it emulate the game experience as best they could, considering it's not an interactive.
Dude, I feel so weird that that's like the comparison between games and films, that films are the ones that are supposed to make you feel like you're doing it.
It's because she don't know anything about video games. Like,
I suppose.
What does she think video games are?
You could bring a controller in with you to the theater and press the buttons on it.
Well, because I want to offer
happening.
some level of sympathy that there are definitely films that can be made to the point where you can immerse you as though you're, like, I don't want to say in the movie, like, that you're feeling connected.
Like when you have certain, like shots of like cameras as though they're mounted on like vehicles, like on jets or something.
Yeah,
or,
like
Iron Man flying around, like perspective shots, things like that.
Yeah, I almost want to say like just really strong immersive moments. But the idea that like the criticism of the action scenes in this movie, that they don't feel like you're in them, I really just don't know what to say.
Well,
yeah, I'm not sure
what more can a movie like this do besides like pulling the camera out so it's like a side scroller perspective, and then you have Mario running from left to right?
Or you have it first person.
Well, the thing
Right.
is that like I think that the film makes very deliberate choices to like pull out, like, because there'll be shots like that when it is emulating like a 2D perspective, but then there are plenty of shots that are like drawn in much closer that aren't trying to do that perspective either. Like I don't even like, it has a good amount of variety when it comes to like the way that the action is framed.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, hey, look, it's like the game. But you never really feel like you're running any of the gauntlets yourself. You still look like you're watching the game screen instead
It's
of being
true. I
put
feel
into
like
the
I'm
action.
watching a
That's the whole
movie.
benefit of making it a movie.
I'm so confused, but
And then-
I'm assuming that's it for that topic.
When could Mario turn into a cat? I guess, like, if you're into
Wait, what is? Oh no, what's she about to say?
I'll roll it back, but it's already funny, so...
And then, when could Mario turn into a cat? I guess, like, if you're into furries?
What? Grace, what's happened?
That works.
By
and I
the
maybe-
way, if she's like surprised that it's a new thing, Super Mario 3D World came out in 2013, so like the cat suit is 10 years old at this point. It's not that new as like an introduction to Mario.
Like, why can you turn into a cat, Mario? What's the
why
deal,
can he do
bro?
a lot of things? Why, I don't know.
Explain,
Like,
man.
Explain it to me. How is he a cat?
If you're furries, that works. And maybe that'll play really well in Asian markets. I know they...
Yeah, the Asians are
Asian fairies will love it, I guess. What is this video? How did we get here
You're
suddenly?
probably Asian.
They are such disparate thoughts that she just clangs together. We were talking about the action scenes and immersion in the movie. Now we're talking about fairies. It's like, I don't know how we got here. What's happening? Why, Grace? Like, what did we do to you?
I guess, like, if you're into furries,
She nearly said furies. I think that's a different thing.
that works. And maybe that'll play really well in Asian markets. I know they love cats over there, like, love cats.
Unlike those filthy Westerners who hate them.
I don't understand.
But I just felt it robbed Mario of a lot of his personal dignity.
A lot of his personal. You were making fun of his outfits and his accent.
Yeah.
Like, what
is it? What is it?
She sees him as literally becoming a fairy, and that's embarrassing. Like, why would you do it, Mario?
The cat suit's gonna play fine to anybody who's played the game, and tons of people have played.
Have
the
you
game.
have you considered this as a post Me Too era that he looks like a fairy?
This is a post Meow 2 society.
Speaking of which, why could he turn into a tanuki? Like, I don't.
That's fine. The cat was too
You
much.
mean a raccoon?
He's a tanuki. That's
a different
it
thing.
depends on the region. Tanukis are really neat little critters. They're pretty neat. Like, I didn't actually know what tanukis were for a long time. I always assumed it was just raccoon. But no,
Well,
there are raccoons with their little dexterous paws, and then there are tanukis.
now,
Japanese
like Tom
black
Nook
flying
is a
dog.
Tanuki in the Japanese versions of Animal Crossing,
Yes.
but in the West he's a raccoon because it's
That's
you know,
right.
you know,
That's
raccoons over
right.
here.
I
Either way, he's a great guy.
That's right.
Either way,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does he have his
in case
dignity?
you weren't aware, Tom Nook is Tom Nook gets a bad rap. Interest-free loans that you can pay back at any time. You don't even have to pay them back.
I'm simping
My
for
God.
Tom Nook unprompted. You have to wait until someone says he's bad.
That's
Yeah,
I don't
this
have to wait until
procast
any instance to talk about.
How much does he
good
pay
old
you,
Tom Nook.
Fringy?
He hasn't paid me anything. He's a pillar of the community.
it's the opposite. I
Yeah.
basically take money from him and have all the time I want
Exactly.
to pay it back, and he doesn't
Exactly, yeah.
hassle me or bother me about it, and he builds up his community. Look, this,
Simping for
this
loan
podcast
sharks. Loan
is
sharks.
extremely.
Loan shark.
Loans that you don't have to pay back. You literally don't have to pay him back.
I want
You
to
could
get back
just
to the
hold on
cat.
to that
Okay.
loan. You could just hold on to that loan and make money through like inflation, like through interest. Like just the
And how much
Tom Nook.
dignity does he have?
Oh,
Does he
well,
have
Tom
a
Nook.
furry suit that he wears?
Well, Tom Nook reinvests the money that he makes from his business into facilities for the community, better stores
I
with
thought
more.
you were going
more
to say
shops.
fursuits.
He invests in
You
fursuits.
don't need a fursuit. He's a Tanuki.
Well, then
or
he could get a
raccoon,
human
depending on which
suit.
region. He can wear a human suit. Can you imagine Tom Nook wearing a human suit? Like Tom
my
Nook wearing a
God.
Mario suit?
It'd be called like Ape Face or something.
Oh, I guess so. Great ape face.
If you're
We are pretty
furries,
great.
that works, and maybe that'll play really well in Asian markets. I know they love cats over there. Like, love cats.
What a
I
bizarre
don't-
thing to say.
I think
Most
she just
random
keeps
touch
this whole
things I've ever
section.
heard.
It's like retarded, then super retarded, then ultra retarded, and then like whatever the last
I
thing
just
is.
felt it robbed Mario of a lot of his personal dignity.
Like that line is priceless. Seriously.
because he's dressed as a cat. He's dressed
Like
as a
she's
cat.
personally concerned for Mario's
His dignity. So fucking funny.
Like, don't do that to Mario.
Why
Where's
why
Mario?
would she be if he defeats Donkey Kong in that scene?
Because he
I
did it
don't understand.
embarrassingly.
The funniest part is she doesn't know that like the cat suit is like super powerful as a power up. It's like a strict upgrade.
It doesn't matter
Um,
because it takes
In
away
a way
how
that has
cool you
massive
are.
utility, because the cat suit allows Mario to like run up walls to get to like inaccessible places. It gives him like several different attacks, several. I think
At
it's
the
like 2 or
cost
3
of his
different attacks.
dignity.
Oh, that's true.
At what
yeah,
cost,
that is
Friggy?
true.
At what
Yeah,
cost?
dignity.
He
At what
wins
cost
the
is
respect of the
dignity?
crowd. That makes
Your
no.
dignity
I
goes
know.
down every time you spin
He
around.
didn't win the
You're right,
respect
God.
of
You're
Grace
right.
Randolph.
You won.
You could just totally see he's like waving to the crowd. She's the only one there that's just shaking her head like, can't believe it, dude. Can't believe it.
Arms folded, yeah.
I finally meet another human, and this is what he does.
But I just
No,
felt
no,
it
I don't
robbed-
like this at all. Sorry,
robbed
go ahead.
Mario of a lot of his personal dignity. I was like, don't do that to Mario.
Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. Pretend like you
What
give
did
a
Mario
shit.
do to deserve this?
You really
Like,
like.
so wrong about the interest. Tom Nook charged 0.5%. Oh no, 0.5% interest.
Holy shit! Wow,
on a
that's an
hardwood?
odd self-own.
Loan shark.
Loan shark with a 0.5% interest.
On a
Greedy
loan that
bastard.
he will never call it. He will never repossess the house. He will never pursue repayment. There's no repayment plan. It's just, whenever you feel like it.
Even the argument we just swapped to, he uses the tiny, minuscule profit he makes from that incredible loan to the stranger to town to improve
Yeah.
the community.
Exactly. Exactly.
Also, she's trolling and you're eating the bait. No, sir. We're trolling and she's eating the
Yeah,
bait.
we're trolling.
we're
You're
trolling.
falling for our
Checkmate.
troll.
Checkmate,
get
we
fucked.
got you.
Get
Way everyone's trolling. And that's just beautiful.
Joke's on them. I was just pretending to.
I was pretending to worry about Mario's dignity in a post-Me Too era.
Where's Mario's agent? There are also 2 end credit scenes, but they're not really noteworthy. One's comedic.
You
the second
just
one tries
mentioned
to set
them.
up a potential
They are
sequel.
noteworthy
Yeah,
by
you
definition.
made
You
note.
made
Yeah.
notes.
You just mentioned them.
Exactly.
They're like,
That
oh,
Why would you make
categorically.
note?
make another one of these.
You
This
say they're
character's
barely
gonna
worth
show
noting.
Up, get excited.
Shut the fuck up. You said what you said about Andor. You can't get away with that. Like, oh, get
Mhm.
excited for Easter eggs. You love them.
And I'm sure that plenty of people, when they saw, well, I mean, I guess,
But that character kind of showed up earlier in the film, in the background, in a way, like at least a very.
Yoshi, yeah. There you go.
Here's my notes on the non-noteworthy scenes.
Yes.
Of them, I spotted them.
I mean, they were like in center
so
frame.
Quick,
they weren't hard to spot. They were like in the middle of the screen.
It's hard to get super excited unless you're just so excited about that character. Just like the mere tease
I mean, a lot of people are.
I don't even know what to say. Like, she has no idea what anything to do with Mario, so why would she even comment? Like, I guess people might be excited for that. I don't know.
I guess you might be excited about Yoshi. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people would be, because everybody likes Yoshi. Well, I think so anyway. Is there any crazy madman out there who doesn't like Yoshi? Really?
I've never met him.
No, I think Yoshi's universally liked. Yeah, everybody's familiar.
And the thing is, he has been since 1990.
90, yeah.
Pretty young.
Blip of him is enough. So yeah, this is a mess. There's no story.
You've not justified that, but fine.
Yeah, you haven't.
Nothing's explained to newbies like myself.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
the cat suit was not explained, Fringy.
Oh, that's true. The cat suit. I mean, it was explained by virtue of it being there and being a power up, and Peach explaining that there are power ups that are like a plot element.
He needs more.
It's kind of offensive.
Stop it.
And none of the animation styles fit together because I guess maybe they're different games. I mean, I guess it looks this way in Mario Kart, right? But from a story perspective,
when did she talk about that? When did that happen?
Well, remember she talked about how in Brooklyn, right? Like, Brooklyn was like high fidelity, but you know, like the humans, they don't all look the same.
But she said like different. So she just doesn't know anything about
Brooklyn
the Mario games.
Brooklyn isn't a video game. Brooklyn's a real
Brooklyn
place.
came from real life.
Well, and
It's a
also,
survival game.
there's a difference between like different. I don't know if she's like talking about locations, but like there's a difference between different locations and a different art style. Like, but I want to give her enough credit that like she can't be talking about that, right? Like that different areas of the world look different, right? That like the Donkey Kong's like home looks different from the Mushroom Kingdom. Surely not, but I don't know.
it just did not work for me. I have never seen an illumination misfire this bad. In fact,
it's so funny knowing how well it did.
That's great. That's
$1 billion misfire.
$1 billion flop.
they've ever misfired.
Man, I didn't expect this level of indignity from the studio that made Hop.
How could you do this to Mario?
Not only the worst movie they've ever made, but in my opinion, the only bad movie they've ever made.
Damn.
Jeez.
Well, Illumination, they'll probably like tear it up.
Paying you a lot of money or
what?
what?
No.
Is she 12?
I don't know.
Maybe. What's different here? It's because Nintendo was so involved.
Yeah, that's what, if anything.
So she sees that as a bad thing.
Man, damn. Okay, woof. That's like the worst take.
See from the
But
credits.
it's bad that Nintendo were involved.
I guess it doesn't always work out, like with The Last of Us.
I mean,
that's my review of
You see, Nintendo didn't ruin The Last of Us. That totally was on the table, though.
Shigeru Miyamoto comes in and just tears up the set of The Last of Us.
This we need a cat suit.
They have different interpretations of mushroom people. Let's just say that.
Of Super Mario Brothers. If you aren't a fan of the games, you've been warned. But maybe you need to go with somebody who is a Nintendo fan. It's gonna be rough for you. I pity you. But just remember what a good friend you're being. And maybe before the movie starts, ask your Nintendo fan friend.
Nintendo fan friend.
She sounds so ridiculously out of touch. When you go to the cinema with your Nintendo fan friend.
It's like when you come home from school with your best friend and your mom's like, "Oh, is this your Nintendo friend?"
Yes.
Yes, Mom. Which might make it a little less painful. But I'll be honest with you, I don't even really think your Nintendo fan friend is going to like this.
Well, yeah.
So share your thoughts down below. Subscribe. I know a lot of you are going to have to see this to believe it.
They have.
But I think most people are not going to. I think it's going to be like my screening. 2 out of the 40 really had a good time. And I don't know if they loved
Roll back the emojis. Great.
it even. But at least they were laughing.
She's tying all of the elements of the video back together.
It feels like we've come home.
About how she's special and she has a thing.
Share your thoughts down below. Subscribe. I don't even know if kids. Again, I don't even know if it's appropriate for kids. Quite.
Shut the
Jesus Christ.
All right,
woman.
share your thoughts down below. Subscribe
Does she know
today. And of
children?
course, as always, you can check out some more videos
No.
right now.
No. But bye,
Holy
Grace.
shit.
Bye for now. So,
Wow,
see.
what a fascinating video, isn't it?
So
What a
she's
terrible
pinned a comment
video.
on the video that says the movie is currently rotten on Rotten Tomatoes with 51. So yeah, it's not just me.
She puts a lot of stock because I remember it was a thing in the Suicide Squad. She kept talking about it and kept going back to like Rotten Tomatoes, and she puts a lot of stock in that aggregate.
Oh yeah, the top response to her is just yikes because it's like the top comment as for now anyways. This review perfectly exemplifies the disconnect between critics and fans. I almost want to go to bat a little bit for critics because this was something else. I don't know what the this was.
Hello, you just listened to a segment of the podcast Every Frame a Pause, or EFAP. Hosted by YouTubers Mauler, Rags, and Fringy, and joined by a cycling variety of guests across the internet, they critically analyze media with exhaustive detail while pausing at every single frame. Subscribe to the EFAP channel and catch new episodes on Saturdays, as well as catch their smaller videos reacting to the latest and not-so-greatest movies and TV shows throughout the week. You can also subscribe here to EFAP Highlights for the latest shorts, clips, and supercuts, also uploaded throughout the week. Links to all the relevant channels can be found in the description section below, as well as links to their communities on Reddit and Discord. Thanks for watching.